If everybody would please take a seat. Prayer. All right. We're going to call this meeting to order at 9:32. May we have a roll call, please?
Vice Mayor Baxter.
Here.
Commissioner Flores. Mayor Marino.
Here.
Commissioner Powell.
Here.
Commissioner Sachs. Commissioner Wise.
Here.
And Commissioner Woodward.
Here.
Thank you.
And I've asked Commissioner Woodward to lead us in the invocation and the pledge. If you could stand, please do so now.
Dear God, as we gather here today, we pray that we are ever mindful of opportunities to render our service to fellow citizens and to our community, keeping in mind always the enduring values of life, exerting our efforts in those areas and on those things upon which future generations can build with confidence. Let us continue to strive to make a better world. Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All righty. Do we have any additions, deletions, or substitutions?
Madam Mayor, if I can direct your attention to our add-delete sheet, we have a couple of items that I wanted to call to your attention. On page 83, 4F1, under our presentations, we had to revise a month. It reported June. It's actually July in item 4F1. We do have an add-on 4J1. I want to thank some of our staff from DOT who are here with us. We'll do a brief update on the DOT CSX road closure on North Lake Boulevard. Some of our other partners are going to be with us for that presentation as well. On page 84, 5A1, a revised summary. The yellow sheet was correct in terms of where the notice was published in the Palm Beach Post. We did that to reflect it on the agenda. Item 5B1 on page 85 has been deleted. This was the item that was voted on and supported by the board at the 7/2/25 emergency meeting last week. On page 102, 6H1 has been deleted for further review and moved to the August 19th meeting. And then on 6J1, the county attorney's office has requested this add-on to schedule a private meeting for attorney-client session to occur on July 22nd at 1 p.m. That is our addition, deletion, and substitutions.
Okay, may I have a motion for adoption, please?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion from Commissioner Weiss, a second from Vice Mayor Baxter. All in favor, all opposed, see that motion carries 7-0. We are now on to the consent agenda. Would anybody like to pull anything from consent? Do we have any cards on consent? Okay.
We have Christian Mancino, Nigel Mann, Thomas Strausser, and Nathan Gayling. We have two microphones you can come to.
And can you please indicate which item you're referencing? Your name and which the address and which item?
My name is Christian Mancino. Just for my address,
Yes, please.
4905 Midtown Lane, Palm Beach Gardens. Yeah, and I don't recall the number off the top of my head, but it was the thing about renaming the highway after the president. Yeah. So all I have to say about that is that I've been a lifelong resident of Palm Beach County, and whenever I think about the sort of principles, the reasons why I'm proud to have been raised here by the people around me, I think of principles like humility, self-control, generosity, kindness, compassion, to those different from myself, open-mindedness. And when I heard this news of this proposed name change, I was honestly shocked and ashamed because I believe that our president not only fails to live up to these ideals, he is almost uniquely antithetical to them in his policy and personal life in almost every measurable way. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. Go right ahead, sir.
All right. My name's Nathan Galang from Green Acres. Like the last speaker, I'm going to speak on the part of the agenda about the road. I'm just going to go straight into it. We should not be honoring a man who said he would look out for labor but then paralyzed the NLRB, National Labor Relations Board. We should not be honoring a man who said he'd look out for the little guy but then cut the CFPB, which returned $20 billion to defrauded Americans. We should not be honoring a man who cut cancer research and science funding while deporting 4-year-olds with cancer, a man who proclaimed to be the peace candidate, but increased drone strikes 432%. Killed 300,000 of the poorest people on the planet by cutting U.S. aid, with 14 million deaths on the way and 4.5 million lives soon to be ended being of those under 5 years old, 17 million Americans losing their health care because he wants to give more money to the owner class. And to tie honoring this man to fallen officers, which my understanding is that it is tied, feels like a cynical move and an insult to people that actually serve. It's a shameful display of bootlicking, glazing, and rioting, and I understand that some of the commissioners share a party with the man, but you guys got to put people over party. And I agree that we should honor the fallen officers, but rather than honoring the butcher in Washington, there are people more deserving of respect. Franklin Roosevelt, Eleanor Roosevelt, Huey Long, Dr. King, James Baldwin, Muhammad Ali. And if you want someone living, we can look at the UAW's very own John Fain, and I'm in with this. Not only do I want you to show some respect to real American heroes like those I listed and the fallen officers, I want you to show respect to the people in Texas who lost their lives because Noah was cut. Show some respect to the poorest people in the world dying due to AIDS because the richest guy in the world thought it'd be fun to cut U.S. aid. Give respect to the people being bombed right now by this president. Give respect to Nora al-Awlaki, the 8-year-old American citizen killed by Donald Trump in his first raid, whose last words were, "Don't cry, mama, I'm fine." And finally, have some self-respect, because this idol worship of a butcher and a killer, it should be below you, and it's my view that this is embarrassing. Thank you very much.
Good morning, members of the County Commission and Mayor. My name is Thomas Strausser, and I live at 509 27th Street in the Old Northwood neighborhood of West Palm Beach. I am here today as well to express my concerns with the proposed resolution, which is Agenda Item 3A2, combining the honorary designation markers for the PBSO motorman highway officers, along with the bill to make a portion on President Donald J. Trump Boulevard. Combining these bills, in my opinion, will politicize what should be a nonpartisan and community honor for those who serve the great county of Palm Beach. The 3 officers who lost their lives in the tragic accident last November deserve a dedication that is free from any other initiative, especially one as controversial as proposed naming of a portion of the same road for the current president. Renaming public infrastructure such as roads should reflect values that unify the community and honor individuals with broad, lasting, and nonpartisan contributions. Naming a portion of Southern Boulevard after a highly scrutinized political figure risks creating further divide in our city and county. Additionally, public naming usually occurs well after a public figure's term in office is complete and is meant to honor the contributions made by that individual. Given that the current president is a convicted felon and has contributed much divide in our country, I do not see a purpose other than short-term political momentum. I feel that there are many other pressing issues within our county, such as homelessness, mental health, first responder support, that these funds could be used in much better use. I sincerely hope that you will take this into consideration and split these 2 efforts for a proper vote on each item. Thank you for your time today and to the service of our community.
Good morning. My name is Nigel Mann. I live at 910 Sunset Road in Pineapple Park, and I'm here to address item 3A. I am here to address the resolution supporting the construction of honorary designation markers on a portion of Southern Boulevard between Kirk Road and South Ocean Boulevard. My office is on Gun Club Road, and I live in Pineapple Park, so my daily commute takes me along this route. The theme of the process to honor an individual includes significant contribution to the community, serving the public good, and military service or heroism. The honorees include Staff Sergeant Matthew Sitton, KIA Kandahar, SPC Daniel Agami, KIA Baghdad, Master Deputy Bradley Link, killed whilst responding to a home disturbance, Sheriff Gary Borders, Florida Dare Sheriff of the Year, and 3 Palm Beach County deputies, Luis Paez, Dan Diaz, and Butch Waller. To this pantheon, we are asked to include an individual with 34 felonies who lost on appeal a $5 million sexual abuse case against him, a man who reportedly called soldiers suckers, losers, and stupid, a man who during recent speech claims he hates Democrats because they hate him. Democrats who, as of July 7th, 2025, according to the Palm Beach County Supervisor of Elections, number 329,127 active voters here in Palm Beach County, and where we outnumber Republicans by 31,473 votes. A man who
Nothing from the crowd.
A man who moved to the Palm Beach County community from New York because his felony convictions prohibited him from participating in any elections. This man may be the best example that Hillsborough County Senator Jay Collins would want to honor here in Palm Beach County. But unlike the example set by the Florida legislature and the Congress of the United States, I urge the Commission not to be afraid of being the first one to stop clapping, and join me in recognizing that Donald Trump does not deserve any more accolades than what are already being heaped upon him by his many sycophants. Thank you.
Do we have any other cards?
Sorry, yes, we have Victoria Doyle and Dan Photon.
Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Victoria Doyle. I live in Lake Worth Beach. Do you need the street address?
You're fine. Go right ahead.
Okay. I'm here to oppose the honorary renaming of Southern Boulevard to President Donald J. Trump Boulevard. The Republican state legislature and Republican Governor DeSantis passed this bill to honor and pay tribute to President Trump. But President Trump is not an honorable man. This is what he said at the Iowa State Fair last week, Thursday. Not one Democrat voted for us, meaning his big, beautiful bill. Quote, only because they hate Trump, but I hate them too. You know what? I really do. I hate them. I cannot stand them because I really believe they hate our country. 3 weeks after a Democratic speaker in Minnesota was assassinated with her husband and her dog in her own home by a deranged Trump supporter. We are a majority Democratic county. Why would we reward this kind of hate speech and potential incitement of further political violence against Democrats by giving him this honorific that we have to see every day of our lives? The renaming bill requires local approval. That's you. We do not have to do this. You have the power to vote no. No, thank you, if you want to be civil, and not roll over like so many scared and cowardly politicians around the country. We don't have to acquiesce to DeSantis and the Republicans' big ego stroke of Trump. We don't want this, and he doesn't deserve it. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Hello, I'm Dan Photo. I'm also a resident of West Palm Beach, and I live just 3 blocks from Southern. We don't need this man celebrated, we need him condemned. We don't need this man elevated, we need him toppled. We don't need this man honored. We need him shamed. And we certainly don't need this man memorialized. We need him ostracized. Let's not forget, this man has revoked research funding for Alzheimer's, for cancer, for HIV/AIDS, and for other diseases. Just last week, he shut down life-saving, state-of-the-art weather predicting technology and has recently revoked funding for the NOAA and FEMA, organizations that we rely on here to save lives. Why would we memorialize a man who gleefully celebrates Alligator Alcatraz, an internment camp where thousands of presumably undocumented immigrants are being sent in fear for their lives, concerned about waking up wrapped by a python, hunted by hungry alligators and crocodiles in a swamp with species that are looking to kill for food? Why would we memorialize a man who divides and minimizes us by our race, our culture, our ethnicity, our gender, our sexual orientation, religion, and socioeconomic status? This man is a known, self-professed sexual predator and a convicted felon 34 times over for fraud. Look, there are remarkable history makers and public servants worthy of being memorialized, right? There's Rosa Parks, there's Martin Luther King Jr., there's Harvey Milk, there's these officers who gave their life in service to their community. These are people who, in one way or another, they understand suffering, sacrifice, struggle, and fear, who worked to lift all boats, to help societies vulnerable, who empowered scores of others to realize their passions, their potential. They protected our communities from bad actors and predators. They served the greater good in purpose and in deed. These are heroes deserving to be memorialized. This grifter, this fraud, this predator, this malignant cancer, this liar, this con, Donald J. Trump, he's intent on destroying what's great about America. He's intent on breaking down the institutions that bring us together, that help the world, that help us become stronger and better. Vote no on naming any street, any highway, building, or learning institution after this incompetent, reckless, and dangerous man. Thank you.
That's all the speaking cards, 6 non-speaking for the clerk.
Thank you. All right, so I see no lights on. Maybe we get a motion and a second for the approval of the consent agenda?
I'll make the motion to approve the consent agenda.
I have a motion from the Vice Mayor, a second from Commissioner Woodward. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? See that that motion carries 7-0. Thank you. Okay, we are on to special presentations. This is always the fun part of our meeting. Commissioner Powell, you want to go first? I got you first on my list here. Okay. And you're doing two also, right? Okay.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the County Commission. Of course, my name is Bobby Powell Jr., County Commissioner representing District 7 in Palm Beach County. This proclamation today I will present to an organization that I've had the opportunity to work with, who has done great work in the community, has been a leader, has inspired many, and have seen many of its members go on to be very, very successful. The group has also visited me when I was in Tallahassee. I would like to call Ms. Janine Wester to the stands, as well as Ms. Calinthia Diddler, and anyone else who is here for Empower Her. Please come up. This proclamation this morning, the recipient Empower Her of the Palm Beaches, EMPOWHER, Empower Her, declares July 2025 as Empower Her of the Palm Beaches Month. Empower Her of the Palm Beaches is a distinguished nonprofit organization dedicated to uplifting women and girls by fostering personal, economic, political, educational, and youth empowerment. And whereas in 2025 marks the 10th anniversary of Empower Her of the Palm Beaches' active participation in the community. Since its founding, the organization has served as a catalyst for change in South Florida, creating innovative programs and initiatives that promote leadership, advocacy, wellness, and civic engagement. And the organization's signature initiative, the Empower Her Leadership Academy for Girls, provides a transformative educational experience for academically strong young women from diverse backgrounds, equipping them with the tools and confidence to become future leaders in their communities and beyond. And whereas Empower Her Leadership Academy for Girls cultivates excellence through mentorship, service, and exposure to career pathways, empowering participants to realize their full potential and make meaningful contributions to society. And through conferences, wellness summits, leadership workshops, and strategic collaborations, Empower Her of the Palm Beaches and its academy continue to amplify the voices of women and girls while addressing disparities and championing equity and opportunity. And the impact of Empower Her's work extends beyond programming. It nurtures a legacy of strength, grace, and transformation that inspires present and future generations. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed by the Board of County Commissioners of Palm Beach County, Florida, assembled in regular session on this 8th day of July 2025, that July 2025 in Palm Beach County is hereby proclaimed Empower Her of the Palm Beaches Month.
Thank you, Commissioner Powell and the entire commission. It is indeed a pleasure to accept this proclamation. Our work still remains. We're looking forward to continue to empower the women and the girls of Palm Beach County. Former County Commissioner Virginia Baker also inspired us to continue our efforts. She carried the arm with the young ladies that we mentor. So we look forward to continuing this effort, and thank you for acknowledging us.
Good morning. While they're getting their photos taken, I'd like to ask that Keith Clinkscale, Marcelo Millett, Stacey Coceres, Megan Houston, Cliff Battles, Tammy Burton, Deb Drum, Matt King, Casey Prankin, and Ron Rice join me up here. And this makes up the members of the Environmental Protection Cross-Departmental Team. Good morning. Good morning. We are declaring July 2025 as Plastic-Free July. Whereas Plastic-Free July is a global movement that encourages people to use less or no plastic in the month of July. Whereas this month helps millions of people to be part of a solution to plastic pollution, which promotes cleaner streets, oceans, beaches, and communities. And whereas substantial amounts of plastic continue to increase in landfills, and plastic can take up to 500 years to deteriorate, less than 9% of plastic actually gets recycled. Whereas making change, such as eliminating single-use plastics from day-to-day habits, can collectively make a significant difference to our communities and natural resources. Whereas local residents have been strong supporters of county efforts to protect and enhance the environment, including the preservation and restoration of natural areas, the maintenance and enjoyment of public parks, and active participation in beach cleanup initiatives. Whereas Palm Beach County supports resilience initiatives and shares information on regarding how residents, businesses can reduce reliance on single-use plastics. Whereas the county strategic planning and performance management environmental protection cross-department team made up of 12 departments promotes programs and activities that protect, preserve, and enhance natural resources while providing for sustainable living and climate resilience. Whereas it is the intent of the county to reduce the negative impacts of plastic, as well as to join with the international effort to reduce pollution and health risks related to plastic. Residents, businesses, institutions are encouraged to use this month and beyond as a reminder to refuse single-use plastics, utilize reusable bags, straws, and utensils, and encourage others to undertake similar actions. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed by the Board of County Commissioners of Palm Beach County, Florida, assembled in regular session on this 8th day of July 2025, that July 2025 in Palm Beach County is hereby proclaimed Plastic-Free July. Congratulations, and I think we have some comments.
Good morning, Commissioners, and thank you, Commissioner Weiss, for sponsoring this year's Plastic Free July proclamation. I'm Stacey Caceres. I am a Resilience and Sustainability Analyst with the Palm Beach County Office of Resilience. It is a pleasure to be here today alongside my colleagues from the Environmental Protection Cross-Departmental Team as we recognize this important initiative. The Environmental Protection CDT brings together 12 departments across the county working in partnership to advance environmental stewardship and lead the way toward a cleaner, healthier future for our communities. Plastic Free July is more than just a campaign. It's a global movement that encourages each of us to pause and reconsider the impact of our everyday plastic use. By refusing single-use plastics and adopting simple, sustainable habits, we collectively contribute to cleaner oceans, neighborhoods, and public spaces. Palm Beach County is proud to be part of this international effort. Through our cross-departmental collaboration and strategic resilience goals, we remain committed to protecting our natural resources and empowering residents and businesses to make a positive difference. Let's use this month and the momentum it brings to champion lasting change, whether it's choosing reusable bags, straws, and containers, or encouraging others to do the same. Every small step matters. Thank you.
Now I'd like to recognize and bring to the stage, to the podium, Deborah Feinsinger and Mr. Will Romulus. This proclamation goes to Digital Vibes, which of course is my daughter's favorite group. She's been participating with Digital Vibes and dancing since she was 15 months. This proclamation is to recognize the 14th annual Kids Fit Jamathon, decked out with some kids. Kids Fit Jamathon, hosted by Digital Vibes Incorporated, is an innovative, interactive, concert-like experience for youth that motivates and inspires them to dance, stay fit, and live healthy lives. And Palm Beach County takes special notice and acknowledges the exceptional service that Digital Vibes Incorporated has provided for more than 15 years to our citizens of the highest potential, our children. And in 2010, Digital Vibes Incorporated was founded to reach out to underserved youth in the county by mentoring them through dance fitness, technology, and the arts. And the organization partners with more than 200 local after-school sites, community-based organizations, and summer camp programs serving thousands of children each year. And Digital Vibes Incorporated serves all children in Palm Beach County and some neighboring communities. And Digital Vibes Inc. has hosted events such as Let's Move PBC and programs such as wellness workshops, fitness jams, and digital expressions where children can create songs and videos to express themselves. And whereas Kids Fit Jamathon is the largest kids dance fitness concert in the nation, and Digital Vibes Inc. has grown a national following and has participated in a viral video dance on TikTok with over 42 million views, bringing national and international attention to Palm Beach County. And Digital Vibes Inc. will host its largest event yet this year with dance, fitness, healthy activities, snacks, and dance performances by local students, where the winners of competitions will take home cash prizes. And the event will be held at the South Florida Fairgrounds in West Palm Beach, and all residents are encouraged to join in congratulating and celebrating Digital Vibes Inc. on its 14th annual Kids Fit Jamathon. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed by the Board of County Commissioners of Palm Beach County assembled in regular session on this 8th day of July 2025 that the board recognizes the 14th annual Kids Fit Jamathon.
We want to thank the Board of County Commissioners for recognizing us and Digital Vibes and Commissioner Bobby Powell. We did visit him also in Tallahassee, and we did get him moving and dancing in his office, and that's what we do for over 5,000 youth this year, taking place at the South Florida Fairgrounds next Wednesday, all day long.
That's right. It's the Palm Beach County is hosting the largest Kids Fit concert in our whole nation here at the South Florida Fairgrounds. So it's a great accomplishment, and we truly thank each one of our commissioners for championing our county residents to take control of their health by staying physically active. And we also would like to invite each one of you guys to come out and meet our kids. Many of you guys already RSVP'd, and we would like to see all of you guys to come out and give our kids high five and welcoming them and all this good things. So it's thousands under one roof. Yes, thank you.
All right, I'd like to ask Parker Foreman, Liliana Millett, and Jakurian Williams to join me up here at the lectern. Morning. Good morning. How are you? Well, we are declaring that August 2025 in Palm Beach County is Youth Entrepreneurship Month. Whereas the future prosperity of Palm Beach County depends on creativity, innovation, and entrepreneurial spirit of its youth, and whereas youth entrepreneurship equips young individuals with leadership capabilities, financial literacy, and strong work ethic, while also contributing to economic prosperity and the advancement of vibrant, resilient communities. Palm Beach County recognizes the importance of providing resources, mentorship, and opportunities to help young entrepreneurs turn their ideas into successful ventures. The Office of Equal Business Opportunity supports youth entrepreneurial efforts by hosting the annual Mind Your Business Youth Entrepreneurship Forum. And the county remains dedicated to advancing programs, initiatives, and collaborations that inspire and empower youth to explore and engage in entrepreneurial pursuits. Whereas celebrating youth entrepreneurship will help to inspire schools, businesses, and community organizations to collaborate in nurturing the next generation of innovators and business leaders. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed by the Board of County Commissioners of Palm Beach County, Florida, assembled in regular session on this 8th day of July, 2025, that August 2025 in Palm Beach County will hereby be proclaimed Palm Beach County Youth Entrepreneurship Month.
Good morning. My name is Jacorian, and I'm the owner and founder of Neighborhood Helpers. I started my business to help neighbors with things like yard work, pet sitting, and assembling furniture and small chores, especially for people who can't do them or just don't have the time. I once had the great honor of assisting an elderly American veteran who had lost one leg in service by putting together furniture in his home. It felt good to know I can make his day a little easier. Being a young entrepreneur has taught me responsibility, confidence, and how to serve my community. Thank you for recognizing youth entrepreneurship and for encouraging kids like me to dream big and help others.
Good morning, and thank you for the honor. My name is Parker Foreman, and I own Food for Need, Inc. It's a nonprofit that is out of Delray Beach, and we cook over 300 pounds of food each week and deliver it to those in need. And I thank you guys for the honor this morning.
Oh, thank you.
Good morning. My name is Liliana Millett. I'm 15 years old, and I'm the owner of Sunshine Handmade Designs, where I make handmade candles and other crafts. I got interested in starting my own business during COVID, actually in this building, and when I attended a virtual event called Mind Your Business. It really inspired me with the help of my parents, Ryan and Marcella Millett, and I decided to start my own business. It's been over 4 years now, and I'm still going strong. I've had the chance to come back as a guest speaker at the same event that first inspired me. I'm also a registered vendor with Palm Beach County, and I've been a part of events like Lagoon Fest, Garlic Fest, and several local youth markets. I've even sold my product to some of you, including you, Mr. Bartolome. Running my business has taught me a lot about hard work and has also helped me open my own Roth IRA for my future and donate over $3,000 to St. Jude's Children's Hospital. So thank you for supporting programs. Like Mind Your Business that help kids like me turn big ideas into real businesses. We are the future of our community's economic growth. If you'd like to learn more about my business, you can also talk to me or Facebook and Instagram. Thank you so much.
Good morning. My name is Bella Mayorka, and I'm the founder of Flash Sign Design. I'm here today because of one event that changed everything for me, Mind Your Business. Before attending that event, starting a business felt like a distant idea, something other people did, but Mind Your Business gave me the tools and encouragement to do, and most importantly, the belief that I could do it too. That event sparked the idea for Flash Sign Design, my business that will be launched by the end of July. This business will use AI to help customers design their own custom signs easily and creatively, right from their phone or computer. Once their design is finished, it goes straight to our trusted US-based manufacturers, where it's brought to life and shipped directly to their door. What started as an inspiration at an event turned into something real, something I'm proud of. And it wouldn't have happened without the support of this community and the resources that were available through Mind Your Business. Thank you for continuing to create a space for young entrepreneurs like me to grow, build, and give back.
Good morning, Commissioner Weiss. Thank you, Madam Mayor, Vice Mayor, members of the board. On behalf of the Office of Equal Business Opportunity, we're excited to accept this proclamation. It is evident that our children are certainly our future, and we have a group of young entrepreneurs behind me that are well on their way to success. The event is scheduled for August 2nd from 9 a.m. until 2 p.m. It will be held in the zoning chambers. We will invite you personally, members of the board, to attend the event. And for our young entrepreneurs who are thinking about an idea, for those who maybe want to be an entrepreneur but don't know how to do it, registration is now open for the 6th annual Mind Your Business Conference, so please visit our website and register today. Let's give another round of applause to these amazing entrepreneurs.
If I may, Madam Mayor. My name is Maria Saxon, and it gives me great honor today to announce that July 8th is Jerry Caprio Day. And I say it just as she would. Jerry Caprio was born in Flint, Michigan. Now, I'm from Michigan. I'm from Detroit. So it's a great honor to stand here and proclaim that someone is born in Flint, Michigan. Because it's a tough city, but it's a city that has produced many, many great Americans, and Jerry Caprio is one of them. She's a dedicated member of the Horses and Hounds Foundation, which is a 501c3 charitable organization. But a lot of people don't know about Ms. Caprio, which is that she's a celebrated and honored equestrian in her own right. Her passion, not only for horses, but for equine therapy and helping shelter animals, has left an indelible mark in our county and has proven to be instrumental in providing healing and to individuals facing physical and emotional challenges, putting up a setting for rehabilitation and personal development. Through her efforts, this one woman's efforts, she has achieved a network of volunteers, a team around her who will come up as part of this honor and share her vision for a more compassionate and inclusive community. Her approach extends beyond animal welfare, encompassing initiatives that address societal issues such as health care, veterans suffering from PTSD, and little kids, foster children, who when they come to her ranch and they see the horses and the fairies in the forest, it fills their hearts with joy. Jerry Caprio's commitment to advocacy to create experiences for children of all ages, even some my age, to go there and experience this beautiful, beautiful environment, gives us a time to honor her and gives her this day as Jerry Caprio Day. So whereas Jerry Caprio is a shining example of how one individual who has passion and determination and a dream to make things more beautiful for foster children, for abused children, for veterans suffering from PTSD, and for all of us, to transform our lives and uplift our communities, enhancing the quality of life here in Palm Beach County. Therefore, be it proclaimed by the Board of County Commissioners on this, the 8th day of July, that on this day, July 8th, 2025, is hereby proclaimed in your honor, Jerry Caprio Day. Jerry, if you'd like, we could have Tioka Grody, April Lewis, Donald Wolf, Peter Torres, Ryan Anda, Amanda Anda, Janet Pelosi, Jorge Gonzalez, and Alejandra Gonzalez up with you. This is the team that I have said that she has formed around her to help so many people. And before we do the picture, folks, Jerry, would you like to say anything? Yes. Okay.
For the past 17 years, I have been raising funds for small grassroots organizations that help animals in shelters, nonprofit hospitals, which is Justin Bartlett, Tri-County, and other shelters, Peggy Adams. Also, a very important small grassroots organization is Simplify Service Dogs, which their organization makes dogs at no charge for our veterans with PTSD. It's been my honor to help these people and their organizations. Thank you very, very much for this beautiful proclamation. Get in the picture.
Here's the proclamation. Get the picture. All right.
Good morning, everyone. While they take their picture, I am extremely honored to be able to declare July 2026 as National Zookeepers Week. And I'm going to call up Renee Bumpus. I hope I didn't mess up your name. Okay, good. Kelly Fad San Minky? Okay, sorry about that. Sarah Godoy and Lily Collins to come up and join me. Declaring July 2026-2025 as National Zookeeper Week. Whereas National Zookeeper Week is observed each year during the third week of July to recognize the skills, dedications, and conservation leadership of zoo professionals nationwide. And whereas whereas Palm Beach Zoo and Conservation Society of Dreyer Park Let me start over, I'm sorry. Whereas Palm Beach Zoo and Conservation Society of Dreyer Park is an AZA accredited institution caring for more than 550 animals representing over 190 species, many of them threatened and endangered. And whereas Palm Beach Zoo zookeepers provide round-the-clock husbandry and enrichment, from daily training of jaguars and sloth to innovative habitats such as the new elevated Malayan tiger forest trails, which debuted with the arrival of an 11-year-old tiger, Olan, in 2025. Whereas these professionals serve as frontline conservationists, engaging visitors and local schools in programs such as Save the Florida Panther Day and year-round wildlife-friendly initiatives that encourage reusable bottles and light-out practices to protect migratory birds. And whereas Palm Beach Zoo zookeepers help advance global conservation science through partnerships housed in the LEED Gold certified Malvin J. and Claire Levine Animal Care Complex, demonstrating leadership in sustainable and animal care design. And whereas their passion and expertise inspire more than 325,000 annual guests to act for wildlife, strengthening Palm Beach County's reputation as a community that treasures biodiversity and environmental stewardship. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed by the Board of County Commissioners of Palm Beach County, Florida, assembled in regular session on this 8th day of July 2025, that July 20th through the 26th, 2025 in Palm Beach County is hereby proclaimed National Zookeeper Week.
Thank you so much to the commissioners and Commissioner Flores. Just such an honor to receive this proclamation. I'm Renee Bumpus. I'm the Chief Animal Conservation Officer at the zoo, and I've been in zookeeping for 20 years, over 25 years now, and seen many species come back from the brink of extinction. The people that you see here have all dedicated their lives to making sure that that's the case, and Florida in itself should be so proud of just successes they've seen in bringing species back. We have one panther that you can visit at the zoo. Her name is Sassy, and these people behind me take care of her, give her the best health care that she could ever receive. We work very carefully with people in the field working on Florida panthers there too. Her mother was hit by a car when she was too young to be able to survive in the wild, so the FWC brings her to us and just asks us to keep her. And she inspires now all the Floridians that come through the zoo, and everyone is there to celebrate the fact that now Florida panthers, in the 70s, they were down to 20 to 30 of them, now up over 200 animals in the wild. So Florida should be super proud of its success in saving species from extinction as well. So thank you so much. All of our team is so grateful for this proclamation, and thanks to Florida for loving wildlife.
So while they're taking their picture, I'm going to call up everybody who wants to be involved with our parks. I've got a really long list. Anybody who wants to be in the picture, just come on up. We have Tammy Fields, Jennifer Cirillo, Indira Prasad, Eric Ryan, Tevin Ali, Eric Garbers, Rich Smolin, Juan Calderon, George Dixon, Meredith Schuler, Juan's son, who is part of Youth from First Tee, Gladys Wingham, Asia Scott, Alexandra Caston, Noah Peterson, Piper Medina. Anybody else who wants to be in the picture and who's got this great lapel sticker on? We've got more. I love the fact that it says golf on it, being a professional golfer. The fact that our county has over 90 holes of golf. We have 80 ball fields. We have 145 playgrounds. We have 5 nature centers, 398 campsites, 7 pools, 78 boat slips, 52 multi-purpose sports fields, 31 boat ramps, 8 performing and visual arts centers. The fact that we are a leader when it comes to parks and recreation is very, very well known. And this group of folks in front of me right here help make all those parks survive and thrive the way they do. So it is my honor to be doing this proclamation as we declare July 2025 as Park and Recreation Month. Whereas the Palm Beach County Parks and Recreation Department is celebrating 53 years of providing healthy, happy living to everyone in our communities. And whereas communities with successful park systems, such as those in Palm Beach County, provide opportunities for all residents to conveniently connect with the outdoors. And whereas Parks and Recreation promotes health and wellness, improving the physical and mental health of people who live near and visit parks. And whereas Parks and Recreation programming and educational activities such as out-of-school time recreations, youth sports, swim instructions, and environmental education are critical to childhood development. And whereas Parks and Recreation increases a community's economic prosperity through increased property values, expansion of the local tax base, increased tourism, the attraction and retention of businesses, and proactive crime reduction, and whereas Parks and Recreation is fundamental to the environmental well-being of our community, providing places for wildlife to thrive and for all people to connect with nature and outdoor recreation, and whereas Parks and Recreation facilities that incorporate blue-green infrastructure help to create a more resilient community when faced with the effects of natural disasters and climate change. And whereas this year's national theme for Parks and Recreation Month, Build Together, Play Together, aligns with the department's commitment to bring people together, finding common ground through parks and recreation, including our public golf courses. And whereas the U.S. House of Representatives has designated July as Parks and Recreation Month, and whereas Palm Beach County recognizes the essential benefits derived from parks and recreation resources and our National Gold Medal Award-winning Parks and Recreation Department team, now therefore be it proclaimed by the Board of County Commissioners of Palm Beach County, Florida, assembled in regular session today, July 8th, that we hereby proclaim July 2025 as Parks and Recreation Month. Ms. Cirillo.
Thank you, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioners. On behalf of all the public servants working in Parks and Recreation, really across the country, thank you for recognizing locally the power of parks on mental, physical, and social health. I want to shine a quick light on our summer interns who are here with us today. Yes, so we have Asia, who works in our Glades District Park section. We have Piper from, Asia's with Florida A&M University, and thank you, Commissioner Powell, for the reference. Appreciate that. Piper, who goes to Forest Hill High School, works in John Prince Park operations, kind of the nerve center of our department. We have Alexandra, who's working at Okeechobee Nature Center, and Noah, who's working with our planning, research, and development team, who goes to FSU. Oh, and Alexandra goes to PBA. So we're well represented here with universities. These are the future of our park system, our future public servants, so we appreciate that. Also, our golf team that is here is amazing. They have a nice little fun contest. They're Audubon certified, fully public funded by their users. They do not rely on our taxes at all, so they were really proud of that accomplishment. World-class golf facilities that we have here. And a quick shout out to Marty Lerner, if he's watching, although I suspect he's on a golf course. He's 82 years old. Golf is a lifelong sport. He had 2 hole-in-ones in the same round at Park Ridge Golf Course this last Sunday, if you can believe it, which is like 67 million to 1. So shout out to Marty. We love you, and thanks for supporting parks.
All right, and as they're taking their picture, we are recognizing July 7th as the 33rd anniversary of the Guatemalan Mayan Center. And here with me is Father Frank O'Loughlin, Mariana Blanco, Guillermo Carrasco, Lindsay McElroy, and Petrona Lopez. All right, recognizing July 7th, 2025 as the 33rd anniversary of the Guatemalan Mayan Center. Whereas on July 7th, 1992, Father Frank O'Loughlin founded the Guatemalan Mayan Center in the Lake Worth Beach to support indigenous Guatemalan refugees and other migrant families. And whereas over 33 years, the Guatemalan Mayan Center has grown into a frontline nonprofit that has assisted more than 16,000 people in 2024 and distributed more than 5,000 boxes of food. And whereas the Guatemalan Mayan Center, Escuelita, Maya Preschool, after-school tutoring, and summer camps foster academic achievement and cultural pride among migrant children. And whereas outreach teams host community ID drives, health clinics, and legal rights workshops, increasing health care access for migrant families by 70% last year. And whereas in April 2025, the Center for Engaged and Transformative Education recognized the Guatemalan Mayan Center with awards for contextually engaged leadership, highlighting its innovative community-based models. And whereas despite challenges faced in May 2025, the Guatemalan Mayan Center staff have demonstrated unwavering resilience and continued to uphold human dignity while providing critical aid to the community. And whereas the Guatemalan Mayan Center's enduring compassion and advocacy enrich Palm Beach County's cultural fabric and strengthen our commitment to justice and inclusion. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed by the Board of County Commissioners of Palm Beach County, Florida, assembled in regular session on this 8th day of July 2025, that the Board hereby recognizes July 7th, 2025 as the 33rd anniversary of the Guatemalan Mayan Center.
Thank you so much, County Commission. For over 33 years, the Guatemalan Maya Center has provided essential services annually to over 16,000 families in Palm Beach County. Services that are constantly changing based on the needs of our people, to make sure that the needs of our residents are met. At a time when our communities are being targeted, they're being tormented, our families are being separated, and they're forced to live in the shadows, this commission is choosing to recognize our work. Recognizing our work means recognizing our people. We accept this proclamation along with the commission's promise to stand by the people. We're thankful to our county commission for celebrating the work that Father Frank started over 4 decades ago, The GMC will continue to stand with the people for another 33 years. Thank you, and thank you, Commissioner Flores.
I arrived on Military Trail and Southern Boulevard 60 years ago, and I was adopted there by the migrant workers, and they gave me a real reason to live. I hate to see Southern Boulevard now taken away from them. They should know when they come down the street that they are beloved, valued. They are us, and our hearts and souls are with them, and we are not part of the monstrous things that are being done to them today. So may I accept this occasion, this award, as your commitment that we shall see a better day. Undoubtedly, in a year and a half, we'll be back at the polls again. We will see a better day.
While they're taking their picture, I just want to comment that Father Frank has been a stalwart advocate for all of the peoples of Central America, as well as Mariana Blanco, and they have helped so many people over the years, and I hope that they continue with their projects and their protection of the people of Central America. Thank you, and God bless you all. Thank you. Thank you, Mayor, for allowing me.
All righty, we're on to our last proclamation, or in this case, a certificate of commendation. Doug Weiss, would you like to join us? Whitney Carroll, would you like to join us too? And I also have one card of someone who wants to recognize you also. Doug, we're going to be sorry to see you go, but we're happy that you've been here as long as you have. So we have a certificate of commendation being presented today to Doug Weiss in recognition of your outstanding commitment and dedicated service as Palm Beach County's building official. Your considerable expertise and extensive knowledge have been both admirable and widely respected throughout the community and the profession. Over the past 12 years, under your guidance, the county's building division has launched innovative programs and implemented lasting efficiencies that have significantly enhanced service to our public. With sincere appreciation and best wishes for your retirement on this 8th day of July 2025, the Board of County Commissioners would like to recognize you. Thank you so much. You want to say something?
I'm grateful for having, you gave me an opportunity to serve. Thank you. That's it.
Well, I'll say a few words. Yes, stay here, Doug. Thank you, Mayor, and Commissioners, Vice Mayor, for recognizing Doug in this way. We're so thankful. Doug is, simply put, a brilliant man. He is respected by his colleagues and known for his knowledge. He has collaboration and his problem solving. Doug is unwavering in his mission to keep the people of Palm Beach County safe in the structures that they call home, work, and community. And while we may be saying goodbye to his daily presence, his impact will be felt for years to come. Now, everyone knows that Doug speaks his mind. He's honest, he's direct, and let's be honest, he's a little stubborn. But that determination and passion is rooted in something deeper, a profound commitment to public safety, a deep sense of responsibility, and a rare integrity that never wavers. I came to see that fire for what it really is, a mark of someone who took his job very seriously, who understood the enormous responsibility behind issuing a certificate of occupancy. That signature, his signature, meant that a structure was safe, sound, and built to last. He never took that lightly. And Doug has also been a tireless advocate for resiliency in the county as the county's floodplain administrator, being a fierce protector of our community against flood risk and future disasters. He's pushed us to be smarter, safer, and more prepared. I've only had the pleasure of working with Doug for the last 4 years, but I want to personally thank him for teaching me a tremendous amount and treating myself and our colleagues with great respect. I appreciate your strength and your professionalism in some very difficult situations, and also your willingness to work with the public to achieve fair and safe results. Doug, we will miss your expertise, your voice, your wisdom, your strength, afternoon coffees, and yes, even your stubbornness. But most of all, we'll miss your work, your heart for the work that you do and for the people that it protects. Thank you for all that you have given to the department and the county and for setting the bar so high and leaving us a great foundation from which to build. You've left this county and all of us better than you found us. We wish you a well-earned retirement. I know that Susan and the girls and grandkids will be very happy to have you home. Thank you.
And if you don't mind, I have one comment card. Michelle DePotter.
Sorry, I need to be taller. Good morning, everybody. Thank you, Mayor. Good morning, Vice Mayor, Commissioners, Acting County Administrator Bond Laren, Council Kaufman, and Clerk. I really appreciate this opportunity to provide a few comments on behalf of your outgoing building official, Doug Wise. I've known Doug for probably 20 years during his stint at the Gardens in West Palm Beach and finally here at the county. And I was away, Doug, when people were recording videos and attending your celebration on AGC Business, so I especially appreciate the opportunity to get something on the record. Doug and commissioners, as you know, our industry often operates under intense pressure, as well as tight timelines, and the role of the building official is critical to not only ensuring safety and compliance, however, collaboration and mutual respect for one another. Doug, during your tenure, you have always consistently demonstrated a genuine and caring commitment to serving the construction industry with fairness, professionalism, and integrity. I think what stands out most to me and to my AGC members is the care for doing your job the right way, and importantly, always looking for ways to improve the process, supporting both contractors and the community, and serving to the absolute best of your ability. And I might add, despite at times deficits you may have faced, whether it be money or certainly a lack of staff that's been needed. You always brought a solutions-oriented mindset and a willingness to engage in productive dialogue, even when we may not have agreed. Imagine that, sometimes even in the Florida legislature. But those issues were complex at times and challenging for both the building department and our industry, and you handled it with professionalism, always with an outreach to discuss what was going on. Thank you for all the times over the years you engaged as a speaker or a judge, giving of your time to the AGC's endeavors to educate and serve our members. By the way, like many of you up here and the staff, I probably learned a little more than I needed to know on the technical side. However, the credit, I always credit you to always wanting to teach us something. Whitney reminded me of that strong coffee. I swear I think it's the strongest coffee I ever had visiting someone in their office, but thank you for that, as my heart was racing as I left. But I, on behalf of my members, have valued and respected your expertise and your level of dedication. When you go into retirement, I hope that you feel appreciated by the years of service that you've given and the collaboration to me, AGC, and our whole entire construction industry. I hope you enjoy your retirement. I hope to see you around Jupiter, and we look forward to continuing the relationship and supporting the new building official when that person's selected. Thank you so much for your time today. Appreciate it.
Sure, come on. Come down. Come on in.
Sir.
We'll move this way. Everyone move this way. Keep moving, Patty. Keep moving.
Madam Mayor, if you don't mind.
Sure.
Commissioner Weiss and then Commissioner Powell would like to say something.
Doug, don't walk away. You're still with us, right, for a few more days? Thank you. So I can ask you to please come back. I've had the opportunity, you and I have known each other for getting close to 20 years now. When I first met you when you came to the city of West Palm Beach, and you were the building official there. I think that the public doesn't really get to see the work that you do or understand the importance of it but you really are responsible for making sure that our structures are safe, that people are kept safe, whether it's from, shoddy workmanship, bad design, or potential natural disasters. You're looking to keep people safe, and you have done that for our community for a long time now. And for that, it's a debt of gratitude that we owe you. And you, as was said earlier, your mark is going to be left here for many, many, many years to come. And so I just want to thank you for your years of dedicated service to our community. Thank you, Doug.
It has been my honor.
Thank you. Commissioner Powell? Don't go away, Doug. It looks like you're trying to sneak out, but not yet.
I just want to say, hey, thank you for your work. I've had the opportunity to work with you on the private side, and I started with the city of West Palm Beach a long time ago. You were the building official there. And, Doug, in these circles, sometimes people don't know, but you're like a legend. And the work that you do behind the scenes, in front of the scenes, making sure that our structure is safe, but making sure that those of us who are practitioners are able to maneuver through the process and do it the right way. I remember, quite a few years ago, I was standing outside of a building and you called my name, and I knew I think I was either a state representative or something, but the fact that you knew me, I was like, oh my gosh, Doug Weiss knows me. I'm just proud to have known you, proud of the work that you do and that you've done. I'm thankful for your friendship and your continued hard work, and I know you're going into retirement, but from me to you, if there's anything that I can ever do, please don't be afraid or don't hesitate to reach out to me. And like you've helped move red tape for me, I'll do my best to do whatever I can for you and your family. Thank you, Doug.
Thank you, Doug. Okay, we are on to the add-on of our agenda, and that would be item 4J1. This is the DOT North Lake presentation.
Thank you. While they're doing that, I'd like to take a point of personal privilege. I've had the opportunity, I know that Parks and Rec has also introduced Asia Scott, but I do also want to recognize another intern working in the county who is majoring in biochemistry and currently interning at She is a student also in Tallahassee, but at my other university, Florida State University. Ladies and gentlemen, I do want to recognize Miss Delina Johnson. Thank you for your hard work, Delina. It's good to see you here this morning.
Thank you.
And thanks to Ms. Deb for having her as an intern.
Okay, who goes first?
Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioners, good morning. Thank you for taking this add-on. We wanted to provide you a quick bit of information updating on the closure at the Beeline on North Lake. Certainly heard a lot about it, been sharing a lot with you through the past few weeks, a lot of changing information. And we very happy and appreciate DOT making their representation available today. And not to confuse things, but our project administrator is Patrick Kennedy, not to be confused with the Patrick Kennedy to my right. So we'll call it the one in uniform and the one not in uniform maybe, but I'm going to ask him to kick it off. The presentation was provided to you previously, and we'll run through that right now.
Thank you. Again, appreciate the commissioners and staff allowing us the opportunity to come here today to give an overview of our project and more specifically a briefing on the work that's upcoming at the North Lake Boulevard Beeline Highway Railroad crossing. I do want to start for context to give a brief overview of our project in general. As you can see on the slide on the screen, our State Road 710 Beeline Highway Reconstruction Project is just over 3 miles long. It basically stretches from Blue Heron Boulevard to North Lake Boulevard. The work there, as you see on 710, is currently a 4-lane, what we call rural roadway section with no curb and gutter and stormwater runoff just off to the lateral ditches to the side. When we're done with the project, we will be having a 6-lane urban type section with curb and gutter, all kind of the drainage to take care of the stormwater runoff, which will be then treated in the pond that you see in the upper right of the picture of the slide. In addition to the work on 710, we're also working on the turnpike. The bridge that you see in the picture there is the turnpike bridge over 710. We will be demolishing that structure in its entirety and creating a 10-lane ultimate section for the turnpike for that bridge across 710. And lastly, but not least, we do have work on the ancillary arterials at Haverhill Road, Jog Road, and as we all now know, North Lake Boulevard. So with that, we'll go to the next slide. Just a quick snapshot of what we're doing out in the project now. The focus of the roadway work has been on that, what we'll call the north side of State Road 710, with the drainage installation, concrete barrier wall, and retaining wall construction, and also the roadway construction there. And even though this photo is only a few weeks old, the contractor has already in this area placed the first lift of structural asphalt and is moving along quite well in this area. So the focus has been on that north side of the road there. We're also, as you guys may already know, reconstructing and widening Blue Heron Boulevard to help improve capacity at that location at this point. Our bridge activities are including the foundation work for the new bridge and also mechanically stabilized earth wall along southbound Turnpike. So more specifically for what we're here for today is the CSX crossing at North Lake Boulevard. Our upcoming activities, if again you can just kind of take a look at the picture on the screen there, the median area that you see grassed for our next phase of construction, our contractor will need to come in there and tear out all of that grass median and put in temporary pavement. This is in order to shift the traffic eastbound. And by the way, I'm sorry, this is North Lake Boulevard looking eastbound towards State Road 710. So the median area will be temporary pavement, which will allow us to shift that traffic going eastbound to that median and create a work zone on that right side of the picture there. Now what's important to note here is you'll see that there is a CSX gate and also a signal truss system that's within that current median that will have to be removed. As part of our project, CSX had already looked into putting in temporary signals and gates for accommodating our phase construction, but also at this intersection, they've had numerous concerns with safety for the rail itself. So as part of this phase shift, they're going to be reconstructing the rail in its entirety across this crossing. Now, the safety concerns are not necessarily for vehicular traffic, they're actually for the rail traffic. They've had concerns with, and even had Amtrak trains basically bottoming out in this roadway crossing. There's some differential settlement that's been causing issues there. So it does necessitate a replacement of that rail system. So which brings us to the upcoming closure that we're going to need in order to facilitate this work. There will be a full closure of the eastbound and westbound lanes at the crossing at North Lake Boulevard. The duration of CSX's work is expected to be 8 days, and once closed, the crossing will not reopen until the work is completed. Now, just for context, the rail work, they're literally going to cut the entire rail system out, remove the concrete panels for vehicular traffic, and recreate and rebuild the entirety of the rail section there. The closure for this work is set to commence on a Friday after the peak rush hour traffic, approximately 8 to 9 p.m., and will continue 24/7 until the opening is ready. Just so everyone knows, the track work will typically take place at night. The signal work will typically take place during the day, and our DOT contractor will also be out there preparing this area for their phase shift, basically 24/7 as well. We will talk a little bit more briefly in a second about emergency access, but of the utmost concern with this closure was allowing access for emergency and first responders, and we can say with certainty that that will be available 24/7. We've been kind of tossing around dates, and apologize for that. We've been dealing with CSX and getting their resources and materials together. They want to make sure that when they get out here and give us a date and hit the ground running and get this work done as efficiently and quickly as possible. Now, in coordination and in cooperation with all the interagency locals here, I do want to say that this has been a great effort between local municipalities, local commission, the vice mayor and the mayor, their office input as well. So it's been a great team effort. It's kind of an all hands on deck. We all take this work very seriously in the getting it done and quickly, so to mitigate any issues with the motorists and the people that live in those western communities. So we did have several coordination meetings about potential detour routes and options to enhance those detour routes. And I'm going to turn this over to Mr. David Ricks, the county engineer, to discuss that further.
Hey, good morning, Mayor, Vice Mayor, members of the board. I'm David Ricks, county engineer, director of engineering public works. Just as Mr. Kennedy indicated, this has been an all-hands-deck effort to do this. What you see before you is the detour route and alternate detour route. This has been coordinated with all the key stakeholders. We'll have connectivity with all the signals along the route and make signal timing changes remotely as needed. We have also coordinated signal timing on Royal Palm Beach Boulevard with the village of Royal Palm Beach for the signals they manage. We don't plan to have any road closures, any county road projects during this closure. In particular note, one of our projects is completing the construction of new lanes near the Seminole Pratt North Lake intersection. We'll make the lane switch to the new lanes by this Friday. Next slide. In terms of notification, there'll be signage to alert motorists. We'll be installing those in here pretty shortly. Additionally, we're working with Mr. Kennedy and his team to keep everyone informed to ensure we're communicating with one voice. The Public Affairs, Alicia D's team, has developed a communication plan that includes a dedicated webpage that will go live once details are finalized. Mailers will be printed in English and Spanish and sent to all affected residences and businesses. We also plan to share updates with local news media and communicate directly with residents through Nextdoor, Connect PBC app, and social media. Next slide. This is the slide, as Mr. Kennedy indicated, talking about public safety. Access will be controlled 24/7 by law enforcement personnel with primary utilization for emergency services on-call or medical transport. The railroad, PBC, and DOT representative will meet 72 hours in advance of the planned closure for a go or no-go meeting. Focus be on potential tropical weather. Should a tropical storm or other event require evacuation of the western communities, CSS has committed to opening all eastbound North Lake Boulevard lanes utilizing temporary measures. Now I'll turn it over to Captain Mugridge from the Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office. Captain?
Thank you, sir. Good morning, Mayor, Vice Mayor, members of the board.
Turn your mic on, please.
Yeah.
Pull it towards you and turn the mic on.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Good morning. My name is Ryan Mugridge, and I serve as the commander for the Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office Traffic Division. Before I start, I want to say thank you to each one of you for renaming the road in honor of our 3 fallen deputies. We appreciate your unwavering support for that. Thank you. I also would like to acknowledge an outstanding partnership the Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office has with your traffic engineering team. I can't recall a time when our working relationship has been this strong, and it's made a tremendous difference in our planning efforts. So the Sheriff's Office Traffic Division has been tasked with creating a comprehensive mitigation plan to manage expected impacts on North Lake Boulevard. PBSO is an asset-rich agency, and we're fully committed to deploying our resources to ensure the safe and efficient flow of traffic through our western communities. So overview of our plan. In conjunction with Palm Beach County Traffic Engineering, we did a field assessment to identify the most problematic and congested areas within the acreage. We'll be coordinating with the PIO to make sure we have public awareness to our residents. We have staggered shifts, so we will be operating to provide full coverage during rush hour in the morning and rush hour in the afternoon and evening hours. We plan to deploy all of our county-wide community service aids will be positioned at major intersections utilizing portable traffic control devices, as we refer to as pickles, to maintain flow and reduce delays. The Sheriff's Office Motor Unit will act as a quick reactionary force for any traffic-related incidents or major incidents within the region, since they have the mobility to get through traffic faster. They will maintain a visible presence to deter aggressive driving. We want to reiterate our goal is prevention, not enforcement. We're not aiming to stop any vehicles unless we absolutely have to that would slow traffic down even more. Our Western Community Commanders will have supplemental staffing to ensure continued responsiveness to calls for service. We are actively coordinating with the Florida Highway Patrol, the West Palm Beach Police, Palm Beach Gardens Police, and all agencies will operate on a shared mutual aid channel for real-time communication. Florida Highway Patrol has been tasked with overseeing and monitoring the emergency response lane for access for emergency personnel at Beeline and North Lake. We will utilize our drones for aerial monitoring to provide real-time situational awareness, allowing us to shift our resources quickly and efficiently in real time. We have a command post that will be set up in our District 15 parking lot, which is the Midwestern, by the tax collector's office, I believe, over there by the Denny's. Our command post will have direct communications with Palm Beach County Traffic Engineering. We also invited our local elected officials to visit the post to observe operations in real time. We've been in contact with our local elected leaders from our Western communities to address their concerns. We are aware of the issues involving impacts on D Road, F Road, and B Road, and we're prepared to redirect our resources as necessary. And we also are aware of the north to south influx of traffic on Seminole Pratt. We will staff North Lake and Seminole Pratt, so we will staff that accordingly. So I just want to emphasize that we are all in this together, and together we will get through this.
That's next to Chief in the Chief Kennedy in uniform.
I'll be brief. So we definitely are working with our partners here and also our municipalities and our automatic aid agreements to make sure that we have proper coverage, whether it's going to be upstaffing, just working with traffic engineering, and also have somebody embedded at the command post to make sure that we have traffic flow and we can have a response.
Thank you. I know the Vice Mayor has her light on, but I'm going to go ahead and go first, which is only because, one, I want to say thank you all for this. I mean, we've had countless meetings, most of them virtual, but thank you, because this is a group effort. As you said, it's the municipalities, it's the county, it's FDOT, it's CSX. And I actually tasked engineering with going out and trying to find another exit route off Seminole Pratt, and I sent them off on a dirt road, and they said, Maria, great idea, but if we have any rain, we're going to be in the canal with cars. So just to suffice it to say that we did exhaust every effort to try to find other ways out of this community. I do look forward to CSX giving us an actual date that hopefully does not fall within the calendar year of our school system. That would be very nice. There have been many questions of why it has to be closed for 8 days, why can't it be closed at certain hours and open at certain hours. But as you said, they're taking the entire track system out, so there's really no way for any travel over those areas. Thank you to DOT for finding a way for traffic when we have emergencies. For those of you, if you go back to the next one. If you'll see that loop road on the left side there, that's actually where people who are coming southeast on Beeline would turn to go onto North Lake. That is the road that we're going to access for emergency. That track system will be replaced at a different time. That road is actually going to be closed to traffic in the future when the spine road through Avenir connects all the way to North Lake. That road, so that will be closing, and there will be a different turning mechanism for that traffic. But that will be the emergency traffic. And I noticed on the slide where you had the crossover. Thank you for that, for determining where the crossover would be, because we just need to make sure that our folks are not getting to that point either. So there needs to be signage, and I'm sure you're all going to do this, like probably at where IBIS, the IBIS shopping center ends, because there should be no other reason to go there. Oh, I take that back. There are there's the water
next U-turn.
utilities, and there's also, I mean, there's the water utilities and the park, but suffice it to say, given what we've heard from the sheriff's office, that there will be a lot of people out there, there will be a lot of people monitoring traffic, there'll be a lot of people making sure that, where traffic is flowing properly. And I know one of the concerns is that people whose houses empty out, whose driveways empty out onto those streets, they have access to get out of their driveway. So there needs to be a staggering of some kind. And I know you all are prepared to handle that. And I think that might be what Vice Mayor was going to talk about too, sorry. But I just do want to say thank you, because this is a major undertaking, and I do want to say thank you to DOT, because they're actually going to speed up this. This might be the only silver lining of all of this, is DOT is going to speed up the work that they were going to be doing around that intersection and do it while this intersection is closed, so we don't have to close the intersection again in the future. So with that, I will turn it over to the Vice Mayor, since she had her light on, and then Commissioner Weiss.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and thank you for the presentation. Thank you for putting this all together. I'm going to ask some questions, and some may be a little repetitive. Do we have a final date?
So, we've been targeting the 25th of July for quite some time. We got word from CSX last week that may slip to August 1st. We've been told that we will have a firm commitment from them no later than tomorrow afternoon, or at the latest Thursday morning. So at that point, we'll get the word out to all stakeholders. As David said, start the social media and media blast for all that work and begin preparation.
Do you know, and have they mentioned if the removing the date of the July 25th to August 1st, was that because of them promising to give 3 weeks at all, or was there a logistical problem?
That was part of it, but it was also some logistical issues with material and resources. What they don't want to do is tell the public and everyone that we're going to start on July 25th, and then for whatever reason not get started until that next Monday or Tuesday. So they wanted to make sure they had everything in place 100% so that this work would happen efficiently as quickly as possible.
And again, just reiterating, we're all concerned that this will run into the school year. Is there a possibility it could start sooner, or is August 1st now the soonest it could potentially start?
So I have been in close contact with CSX. They're having an internal meeting tomorrow. That internal meeting, they're going to discuss trying to push that 25th date. We all know that with the 3 weeks, we've had notice out. The public is well aware of what's going to be happening at this point. So we feel like if we do give the 2.5 weeks instead of the 3 weeks, it would be better to get that work done earlier rather than later. So they are going to be pushing to see if they can make that 25th date happen.
Agreed, and thank you for that. It would be huge. I don't think this is going to be pleasant for any of the residents at all. So making it as least impactful as possible is the goal. Traffic control. So David, I wanted, for the purpose of the public to understand what we will be doing at the county while this closure is occurring.
We'll have connectivity to all our signals online, and we've been making adjustments as needed and working closely with the sheriff's office for those key intersections as we do that. And then, like I said earlier, there's several signals in the village of Warrior Palm. We have coordinated with them to adjust the signal timing along the signals that they manage themselves. So we have operational control of those signals also.
And will we have staff monitoring those
Yes, ma'am.
intersections that have cameras on them?
Yes, ma'am.
And will we have real live updates to timing and signalization as needed from the control room?
We will.
So that we can keep traffic flowing as smoothly as possible during this.
Yes, ma'am.
So thank you for that. And Captain Mugridge, knowing that your guys are out there is going to be a huge relief. There are certain areas, especially as you had mentioned, the lettered roads in Loxahatchee Groves, that need a break in traffic just to pull out onto the road. So I know what it's like sitting at a stop sign trying to pull out onto a busy road without any break in traffic. So this adding, thousands of more trips down these roads, I can't imagine what they would be going through. So thank you for agreeing and working with us to have potential motormen out there and taking care of the residents, allowing them to get on and off of their roads. We did briefly discuss, if you want to reiterate kind of how we may or need to approach that if it reaches that point? Because I know you're going to monitor it.
So the number of roads in the Indian Trail, Loxahatchee Groves.
I think your mic.
There it
There
is
you go.
again. So the number of roads, we're going to have our motor unit. There's probably 28 motors who are assigned to the area. If needed, we'll pull more if we have to pull additional resources. I'm working with Captain Sant and Loxahatchee. And if we have to man those intersections to get people out, we will. The drones, we're going to be doing the aerial support to go over and say, okay, there's an issue on B road or D road, wherever it is, and we can send the motors over there if we have to. They can get there quicker than anybody else, and we'll get traffic into and to where they need to go safely.
That's going to be huge for those residents, so thank you
You're welcome.
so much. Oh, I also wanted to thank DOT for kind of taking on two birds with one stone, right? Getting the signal taken care of and the rail so that we don't have to repeat this closure in the future. Thank you so much for that. Again, I don't think this is going to be pleasant for anyone, but just knowing that we're making the best use of the time as possible is a little bit of a silver lining. So thank you for that.
No problem.
Thank you. Commissioner Weiss.
Thank you, Mayor. And I'll just repeat the thanks from my colleagues, the gratitude for all of you working together. I know the town of Royal Palm Beach Gardens, the city of West Palm Beach, Loxahatchee Groves, all the municipalities that are going to be impacted. Everybody is working together, so thank you all for that. The one last thing I think to talk about is to our residents directly. If you can avoid, if you live out that way, if you can avoid having work done at your house, if you can avoid anything that's going to add to the traffic out there during this period of time, this week that we're going to have this closure, everybody will benefit from it. One less car is going to be one less car that everybody has to deal with. And, you know, if you have an opportunity, a nice staycation, you know, hopefully the weather will be nice. You can hang out in the backyard and maybe work from home. But again, you know, if we can all do a little bit, if everybody can just, you know, maybe a change in your schedule if you don't have to leave during rush hour or return during rush hour, again, everybody will benefit from it. And to the residents who have had to, you know, find out about this and, you know, sort of the panic that it created, everybody, I want to say thank you. People have approached this in a very thoughtful way, looking for solutions, being most concerned, quite frankly, about public safety, about the crews being able to get through if need be. And that was always been the number one comment I've heard from all the public that are going to be impacted by this, is that safety. So to our residents and business people that are going to be impacted, just thank you. This is not an easy thing to do. But it'll be over with, and we'll be in a much better place for many, many years to come.
Thank you. Todd, you.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. I want to say first thank you to Mr. Kennedy for you and your team. The communication has been outstanding. The work with the broader partnership, we appreciate everybody as well who has come together in this effort. To the members of the board, I forwarded to you earlier this month a draft of our communications plan that we have in place and our public affairs team has been working on. I wanted to thank our local media for the coverage that they provided to this situation and getting the message out there, and want to make commitments also to our residents as well as to our local media sources that we will be there every step of the way to communicate. We'll make ourselves available, our professional staff, as our Board of County Commissioners has made to the media as well, to provide updates and work with DOT and CSX through this effort. So thank you, and unfortunately, you know, this is just what construction and progress means sometimes, but we're going to get through this all together. So thank you very much.
And Todd, I know that one of the emails that we received was about a request for if it were possible to work from home during that week for non-essential workers. Can you address that?
Yeah, so we've certainly have looked at that. I mean, one of the things that we've certainly encouraged individuals working closely with their employers to the extent that they have the ability to work from home and avoid getting on the road during those times. We've certainly looked at some of our employees. We've got about 1,000 or so employees that live in that region of the county. Many of those are essential workers that require them being on site firefighters, deputies, and PBSO, a lot of bus operators that we have in the region as well. But we're going to continue to look at that list and see if there are some accommodations that we can make. But I would encourage everybody to work with their employers and see if there are opportunities for them for that duration to work from home, or at least adjust their hours of commute sometimes in getting to and from their workplace.
Thank you. Commissioner Woodward.
Thank you, Mayor. Much of what I was going to say has already been covered by my colleagues. I just did want to reiterate, thank you to our media partners who are here too. I've been watching some of the coverage, and it almost seems like we could liken this to a impending hurricane that we hopefully have blue skies for and no one loses power. But for the people who live in that area, if you were to treat this almost like a storm that's going to come and maybe block roads, this is not something we can push back. That this is supply chain rail. I mean, that this has to be done, so we have to do it. My question was, since we're kind of approaching this almost like an impending storm for the area, on the start date, because the coverage is fantastic, we're getting the words out, and our colleagues who have the district covered, is there potential for us to be a little more flexible with that date? I know you said they didn't want to start on a Friday and then have to push it back to a Tuesday. Do we need to push it back a full week to August 1st? Because I understand the concern to have school starting at this point. I mean, if they say July 25th, do we have flexibility to say July 29th, or even just a few days earlier would help with the school traffic?
So we're looking at all options for that.
Okay.
The biggest thing starting midweek would be we may affect 2 work weeks, basically. The context of why we kind of chose the Friday was to have the 2 weekends and the 1 work week be affected, if possible, and have that actually 1 day of cushion with that Sunday to be able to do that. There's possibility for that, but I think logistically and impact-wise, it may not be the best idea.
Do we know, has the school district been in conversation with us on this? Because it would be the week before school starts, but there's a number of activities that week before, including staff for the school district. Are they giving the ability to potentially work from home during that time?
We have been in contact with the school district, aware, been communicating on what activities they have going. Don't know what their practices are, though.
Okay. Well, for all the residents in this area, we very much are sorry, but as you can see, we have a wonderful team here prepared to try to make this as painless as possible. It will be painful, but if you can stay home, if you can stock up, hit Costco before the time comes, I mean, hopefully it'll be nice weather, as you've said, have a staycation perhaps. But we are sorry for this, but the plan you've put together and the media plan that we have with Administrator Bonlaren, it's I think everything we can do. So I want to just thank you for that. And I'm sorry for the residents in the area.
Vice Mayor Baxter.
Thank you, Mayor. I had forgotten to mention, Todd, you briefly, Administrator Bonlaren.
I'm going to keep calling you Todd, sorry.
You had briefly touched on it a little bit. I would like us to set the example of, if we do have non-essential employees that live in those areas, to not require them to be on the road. And we have a lot of, obviously, Palm Beach County employees, so if there's any way they can work from home or we can accommodate in some other way, I think that would be good for us to do. So if we could do that, please. Also, I would like you to update. We were working with the Tourist Development Council and Discover the Palm Beaches about the potential for a staycation that might not even necessarily be at your home, but just some discounted rates for residents who maybe want to stay local but not where they live. So if you'd like to update where that stands and where they can go for that information, I'd greatly appreciate it.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. And just in ways of trying to be creative and minimize some of the impact of some of the road closures that we're going to see out there, we worked closely with Discover the Palm Beaches. They've secured over 50 deals that are going to be going live in a campaign as soon as we get the start date, that campaign will be released. and they include a number of different hotels throughout the region that we're encouraging people, if you can take a staycation, and this is a good time to maybe do that, or even if you want to take advantage of some of those deals for a couple of days or a few days or the entire week. So stay tuned for that. It's going to be on the Discover page. I think they're going to be using multiple venues in order to get that out, including some billboards and other social media as well. But as soon as we're ready to release that campaign, it will happen almost in concert with the start date being announced for the construction project. So thank you, Vice Mayor, for your leadership on that as well, and giving us some of those ideas on that respect.
Thank you. I see no more lights on, so gentlemen, start your engines. Thank you very much. And we look forward to that actual start date. All righty. Wow. We are now moving on to the public hearing portion of our agenda, but before we do that, I wanted to ask the board if it would be okay if we were to reorder the agenda and take airports, so that we can allow Ms. Beebe to say her piece if we have any questions for her, or let her go back about her day.
Madam Mayor, I move that we take airports next.
I have a motion from the Vice Mayor, a second from Commissioner Woodward, that we are going to, and I don't know what the agenda item is. Okay, we're going to take agenda item 6D1. Do we have any cards? Do we need a presentation?
Nope. I move that we approve item 61.
Second.
I have a motion from the Vice Mayor, a second from Commissioner Weiss. All in favor? All opposed? See that that motion carries unanimously. I'm sorry, you said 6D1?
6E1.
E1, excuse me.
E1.
I amend that to 6E1.
Okay,
6E1.
let's
A and B.
We'll amend that to reflect 6E1,
A and B.
and B. Again, that was passed unanimously.
And we have the second one,
6E2, A, B, and C.
Would anybody like a presentation?
Go ahead.
I'll go ahead and move 6E2, A, B, and C.
Second.
Did you get that? Commissioner Weiss made the motion. Vice Mayor Baxter made the second. All in favor? All
Aye.
opposed? See that that motion carries 7-0. Thank you very much, Ms. Beebe.
Thanks, Laura.
All right, now, Commissioner Flores, I apologize. Go right ahead.
So since the airport team is leaving, I was going to save my comments for commissioner comments, but I just wanted to say thank you for listening to us when we were doing the concessions RFP, and I know that you made some changes according to what the feedback that this board provided. So I just want to say thank you for your leadership, and Isami's as well. I think she's here somewhere, but thank you for doing that. We really appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you, Commissioner. Okay, so now we are back to public hearing.
5A1.
Item 5A1, A, B, C, and D. Does
Mayor?
anybody need a presentation?
Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to receive and file proof of publication.
Oh, thank you. Sorry.
Second.
I have a motion to receive and file proof of publication from Commissioner Weiss, a second from Vice Mayor Baxter. All in favor? All opposed? See that motion carries 7-0. Now on to 5A1, A, B, C, and D. Does anyone need a presentation? I see none. Would someone like to make a motion?
I move that we approve item 5A1, A, B, C, and D.
I have a motion from the Vice Mayor, a second from Commissioner Woodward. All in favor? All opposed? See that motion carries 7-0. We have deleted 5B1. Thank you all for being present for the emergency meeting last week. I was out of town on family. When your 90-year-old mom says, you need to go and do this for me, I went and took care of some family business for her, which took me out of town, so I appreciate the Vice Mayor running the meeting. And thank you for getting that done for our hospital system. It was much needed. Okay, so we are now on to regular agenda 6A1. Todd, Ed, Casey. Ed, your last meeting? You sure?
Oh, yeah.
We wouldn't let you go that easy, Ed.
Good morning, Madam Mayor, Madam Vice Mayor, Interim County Administrator Bon Laren. I'm Ed Chase. I'm the Intergovernmental Affairs Director for Palm Beach County. With me at the table is your Legislative Affairs Director, Casey Denny, also Scott Stone from the County Attorney's Office. In the chambers with us is members of the Executive Director of the Palm Beach County Legislative Delegation, Victoria Nolan, as well as the delegation aide, Cariana Ingram. And we do have a member of our contract lobby team with us today. With us is Lauren Jackson from Eric's Consultants. She is representing our ferocious contract state lobbying team today. And of course, always with us is our fearless leader, Todd Bon Laren. Todd will not be at the table with us today, so this presentation is pretty much guaranteed to go at least 47% faster. I figured you would appreciate that. A session at a glance, the 60-day legislative session wound up being a 105-day legislative session. A total of 269 bills were passed and presented to the governor. Over the past couple of years, that's about average for the number of bills that the legislature passes going forward. We'll talk a little bit about some policy issues. We'll talk a little bit about some appropriation issues. But first, Casey will kind of talk about some of the top issues that this legislature faced this year.
Good morning, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioners, Interim County Administrator Bon Laren. One of the top issues that was discussed, but there wasn't a lot of movement this year, definitely teed up the issue for next year, was property taxes. The governor, Senate President, and Speaker of the House held different views and different perspectives on how to approach tax relief, not just on property taxes. We'll talk about sales tax as well in a minute. But you can kind of see on the slide how those views differed. Governor DeSantis wanted to issue state-funded property tax rebates one time at $1,000 for individuals, and then place a constitutional amendment on the ballot in 2026 to eliminate property taxes or even reduce property taxes. That was sort of his position going into this legislative session. Speaker Danny Perez had a little bit of a different vision. You all are aware of House Bill 1221, which is also included later in our presentation. His idea was to basically open up the tourist development tax authorized uses to be able to use that tax revenue for anything, but then to credit the revenues from the TDT onto the property tax bills that homeowners receive. That legislation did not end up making it it made it to the Senate, but it did not make it through the Senate, and it ended up dying by the end of the legislative session. He also set up a select committee on property taxes, which we've been briefing you on their work. They're set up to consider 5 initial proposals and any other ideas that may come up to figure out how to reduce or eliminate property taxes, and their work is ongoing through to the 2026 legislative session. The Senate President wanted to study the issue of property taxes, what they're used for, how they're levied, and make a decision from there to inform a constitutional amendment as well in 2026. Again, none of those things happened. A study was placed into one of the bills this legislative session. The funding was vetoed by the governor. He urged just moving straight to the constitutional amendment. Sales tax was sort of the big holdup this legislative session, why it lasted 105 days. It took a little while for legislative leaders to agree on an approach for sales tax relief, with the Speaker wanting a reduction in sales tax rate by 0.75%. The Senate President preferred measured non-recurring cuts in sales tax holidays. The 2 presiding officers announced a deal on the tax package. Shortly after that, the governor made some comments that he wasn't quite sure about an across-the-board sales tax reduction and thought that the legislature could do better to provide relief to everyday Floridians. So the Senate went back and revisited their position, and that took a little while to negotiate before we could kick off budget conference. Another key issue coming out of the Senate was the Rural Renaissance Package. I know we talked a little bit about this before, Senate Bill 110. This was intended to provide funding for rural infrastructure, education, economic development. Unfortunately, this legislation got caught up in the policy and budget negotiations between the 2 chambers and did not end up making it across the finish line this year. But the Senate President has expressed his willingness to bring that forth again in the 2026 legislative session. And we'll talk a little bit about this bill and County Road 880 a little bit later on in the presentation. And then coming out of the House was an investigation into Hope Florida as well as executive agency spending. The House Speaker really wanted to tighten the belt of government, and so he had his appropriations subcommittees looking into how executive agencies spend their dollars to ensure that they're spending them wisely.
We will go through a couple of budget items very quickly. The total budget this year is $115.1 billion. The governor did issue $1.35 billion in vetoes. That brought that total number of this year's budget to be less than the previous year's budget. It did make sure that there were $12.4 billion in reserve. It did put $500 million into emergency preparedness and the disaster fund, and the retirement of the state debt put in $830 million, requiring future legislatures to put in $250 million each year going forward. And you'll see on the pie chart that the majority of the state budget goes towards education and healthcare. A few highlights: education, the per student increase was $142.74 this year. That brought per student spending up to just a little over $9,000 statewide. On health and human services, the county health department capital outlay, the total amount was $4 million. We're still working with the Palm Beach County Health Department to determine whether funding for our facility was in that outlay. On transportation and economic development, the Florida Job Growth Grant Fund was funded at $50 million. Affordable housing was fully funded, both the SHIP and SAIL program. That continues to be good news. And the Hometown Heroes program was funded at $50 million for the fourth year in a row. They also did fund Visit Florida at the overfunded amount of $80 million. On criminal and civil justice, on additional judgeships was $18.8 million, and I'll talk a little bit more about how that affects Palm Beach County in just a moment. On agriculture, environment, and general government, the C-51 reservoir received $65 million in funding this year. That brings total spending from the state on that issue to $348 million to date. There was $64 million for the EAA reservoir south of the lake. And of the $53 million that was appropriated for beach funding, Palm Beach County received a third of that funding for our 4 projects in Delray Beach, Jupiter Carlin Park, Midtown on Palm Beach, and the Ocean Shore project. One item of note of disappointment was that the FERDAP, the Florida Recreation Development Assistant Grant Program, was funded at $0 this year, which was disappointing. On our Palm Beach County projects, we submitted 10 projects through member appropriation requests, and in a very difficult budget year, we went 10 for 10 for getting all 10 of our requests into the budget. I can't remember a year that we've done that in the past. So our thanks to Senate Appropriations Chair Hooper and House Appropriations Chair McClure for working with us to get these items in the budget. West Palm Beach downtown signalization upgrade was fully funded at $3 million. Thank you to Senator Bernard and Representative Snyder. Housing units for the homeless, this is our first try at that. It was funded at $1 million, so thank you to Representative Snyder and Senator Harrell for shepherding that through the process. Australian Avenue drainage improvements was funded at just a little over $742,000. Senator Bernard and Representative Edmonds put that through the process. The Lake Worth Lagoon Initiative was fully funded at $897,000. The Loxahatchee River Preservation Initiative was fully funded at just under $500,000. On the Lake Worth Lagoon, our champion, again, is Representative Bernard, and ongoing in the House is Representative Peggy Gossett-Simon. We appreciate her shepherding there. In the Loxahatchee River, Representative Snyder and Senator Harrell, again, sponsored those. We were successful in getting $500,000 for Peanut Island. Senator Bernard and Representative John Snyder were the sponsors of that. Again, with Restore Reentry, it was fully funded at $500,000. We're very grateful for that. Meg Weinberger in the House sponsored that, and our longtime sponsor, Senator Lori Berman, was in the Senate. We were able to get $200,000 for Palm Beach County Fire Rescue water vessels. Representative Joe Costello was the sponsor, Lori Berman in the Senate. And finally, the first time we were able to get Palm Tran Patriot Passes pilot program in the budget. Representative Deb Tendrich was our sponsor in the House, and Representative Lori Berman, our sponsor in the Senate. So these were the 10 items we were able to get in the House budget. After vetoes, we saw vetoes for the housing units. Australian Avenue, Murakami, I don't think I mentioned that, I'm sorry. That was $500,000. Thank you to Representative Skidmore and Senator Tina Polsky. And also the fire rescue vehicles and Palm Tran were vetoed. All in all, we had just a little over $2.5 million in vetoes, but we're able to keep in just our priority projects over $5 million in projects. So just kind of a typical year for that. I do want to throw a very big shout out to our contract lobby team for helping us work and get these projects through at least the House and Senate budget process. Some other Palm Beach County appropriation highlights that were successful: Belglade hardening of the Lakeshore Resource Center, we're happy about that. Bush Wildlife and Cox Science Center did receive funding. FAU received 4 projects. The Ideal Place permanent housing was funded. I know, Commissioner Woodward, that's something that you were interested in. The Palm Beach County Butterfly House was funded, and the Riviera Beach Law Enforcement Training Center was funded. I know, Commissioner Powell, you were interested in that. This is not a full list. Without Todd Bonlaren here, we were able to get by without doing 4 pages of appropriation. So you will find that in your very, very extensive report that was given to you by Casey before this event. These are a little bit of our lowlights on other Palm Beach County appropriations. Some interested projects that the board had. Boca Helping Hands was vetoed, although was in the budget. Let's Move 365 was in the budget, although vetoed. And once again, the South Florida Agri-Science Center and Emergency Shelter, although funded in the budget, was ultimately vetoed by the governor.
Getting into policy, let's talk about what actually was included in the final negotiated tax package. So you'll see that there's a shorter list of sales tax holidays, and that's because a lot of things were made permanently exempt from sales tax. So now there will be a permanent back-to-school sales tax holiday every single year in the month of August, a permanent exemption for certain disaster preparedness items year-round, permanent exemption on admission to state parks, and a one-time holiday for hunting, fishing, and camping equipment starting in the beginning of September and running through the end of the year. The business rent tax was repealed as of October 1, 2025, so Florida will no longer have a business rent tax. There were a few specific expansions and new exemptions for affordable housing, a freeze on rate increases for the local communication services tax through 2031, a repeal of aviation fuel taxes, and lastly, a highlight from this, but not necessarily a highlight, is the elimination of the distribution for the New Starts transit program and Florida Rail Enterprise. This has created some questions and concerns about state funding for Tri-Rail, and the SFRTA and Florida Department of Transportation are currently in discussions to figure out how that's going to work and be funded moving forward. Getting into some preemptions and mandates, you'll notice the slide is a lot shorter than previous years. There was a lot going on this legislative session, and some of the focus was not on preemptions and mandates this year. So a couple of notable preemptions: the preemption of the regulation of presidential libraries, now preempted to the state and deferred to the federal government. House Bill 683 on construction regulations requires the state to set certain standards for synthetic turf and says local governments can't regulate those more strictly in residential areas, more strictly than the state. We can also not penalize a bidder for performing a larger volume of work or reward a bidder for performing a smaller amount of work in the procurement process. Senate Bill 700 changes a lot of different things for the Department of Agriculture and Consumer Services. One of the most reported on and widely known is the prohibition of the use of water additives like fluoride in public water supply if they're not directly utilized for improving water quality. And then also to allow housing for verified agricultural workers. That is something that is now preempted to the state. We've seen legislation last year on that was vetoed. That did go through this year. House Bill 913, condo and cooperative associations. This legislation extends the deadline for these associations to complete their reserve studies to December of this year, and gives more flexibility in how they can put together the funding for those reserves. It also requires local enforcement agencies to submit their compliance information to the Department of Business and Professional Regulation, and now it requires, rather than allows, local governments to adopt ordinances that state that any improvements and repairs that need to be done in their inspection report must be commenced within 365 days. One of the bills that we saw in previous years regulating the display of flags by governmental entities did not make it. Moving into local government, our local bill, thank you to Representative Skidmore, was passed, House Bill 4011, expanding eligibility to serve on the Building Code Advisory Board, so that should make it easier for you all to find qualified candidates to appoint to that board. Senate Bill 1080 makes a variety of changes to local government land development regulations. Notably, regarding impact fees, it does raise the voting threshold when a county commission would like to raise impact fees using extraordinary circumstances provisions set in law. Instead of the 2/3 required vote, it's now going to require a unanimous vote of the board in order to do that. There are certain limitations in that legislation. Originally, this legislation contains some provisions related to agricultural enclaves after advocacy by local governments. And this was kind of a testament to the interesting nature of this year's session. After advocacy against those provisions by local governments, the bill actually did fail on the Senate floor. The sponsor removed those provisions, and it was taken back up and passed. And that's why you see it in the pass column here today. Senate Bill 268, something that I know you may be interested in. It exempts certain public officers' information, including partial home addresses and telephone numbers, from public records. That does include county commissioners, as well as the partial home addresses and telephone numbers of your spouses and adult children. For minor children, it also will exempt the name and location of their school and a few other identifying information items. House Bill 669 prohibits a local government's investment policy from requiring a minimum bond rating for investing in bonds issued by the Israeli government. That was an item that you all saw on consent earlier today. And House Bill 929 enhances firefighter health and safety. And we wanted to highlight this one because Chief Kennedy was actually at the bill signing with the governor earlier in the month of June. And Palm Beach County is actually doing a lot of what this bill encourages to happen, including work schedules not exceeding 42 hours per week. There were quite a few notable items that failed, good and bad. The study on the elimination of property taxes did fail, as well as the local option taxes legislation we talked about earlier to offset property taxes with TDT revenues. Once again, sovereign immunity threshold increases legislation did fail, moved through the House but died over on the Senate side, so there will be no adjustment to those caps this year. Waste incineration, this legislation I know had some initial concerns for the Solid Waste Authority. The House and Senate could not agree on some preemption language on auxiliary containers. So that legislation did not make it after bouncing back and forth between the chambers. There was legislation as well, House Bill 991 and Senate Bill 1242, related to the sunsetting of CRAs and the prohibition on creating new CRAs. That legislation got caught up in the rural renaissance and policy negotiations, so it did not end up passing. And then 2 public records exemptions we would have loved to see passed this year. It was not a good year for public records exemptions. County administrators and city managers' personal identifying information, as well as that of sexual assault counselors, did not pass.
A few policy issues on health and human services, SB 106. So this aims to protect vulnerable adults from fraud and abuse. So if someone tries to trick a vulnerable adult into giving away money or property, but their identity is unknown, the bill allows a judge to step in and temporarily block the transfer of those funds for 30 days. Senate Bill 584. So this would require each Florida college system, institution, and state university in consultation with DCF to develop plans for prioritizing the placement of students who are or were formerly in foster care and those experiencing homelessness or at risk of experiencing homelessness into residence halls and dormitory residence owned by the institution or university. Senate Bill 954, certified recovery residences, that will require local governments to adopt an ordinance by the 1st of January 2026 to formalize and streamline the process for applicants seeking reasonable accommodations from land use regulations in order to opening a certified recovery assistance. One of the bills that did fail on this issue was HB 405, so that is the Palm Beach County State Attorney Addition Recovery Task Force legislation. That bill was neither heard in any committee in either the Senate or the House.
Transportation and Economic Development highlights House Bill 703 regarding utility relocation. As filed, this legislation would have required local governments to pay for the relocation of a utility that was in their right-of-way after the advocacy from cities and counties working together with the sponsor. Now it establishes a new grant program that dedicates a portion of the communication services tax to fund the grant program for utilities to apply for reimbursement directly through the Department of Commerce, and local local governments are not responsible for paying for the relocation of those utilities if it runs out of money. House Bill 987, there were 2 transportation facility designations, honorary designations in Palm Beach County, you heard earlier today. And then Senate Bill 1662 regarding transportation. This was one of 2 major transportation bills. There were a variety of things in there. When the bill was originally filed, it did include some dedicated funding for the language that we had established last year in statute for the reconstruction of County Road 880 through the Small County Outreach Program. Once the Senate President had developed his Rural Renaissance package and dedicated funding sources to that, that language was removed, and we were able to get new language into Senate Bill 110 through a different program, the County Incentive Grant Program, that would have allowed Palm Beach County to draw down up to $15 million a year for 6 years for the reconstruction of farm-to-market roads in the Everglades agricultural area. And as you heard earlier today, that bill did not make it across the finish line this year, but we're committed to working with the Senate President again next year on this item. Some mixed news, the bill to prohibit mid-lease rent increases on affordable units funded by taxpayer dollars did not make it across the finish line this year. It did fail, however, it received multiple hearings. It just did not have enough time to get there, so we thank Senator Bernard and Representative Tendrich for filing that for us and look forward to working on that next year.
A few criminal and civil justice items. Senate Bill 1386. This legislation enhances penalties for the assault or battery of a utility worker while the utility worker is engaged in work on critical infrastructure. Senate Bill 2508, I mentioned earlier, so this establishes 22 new circuit court judgeships across the state of Florida, including 2 that will be placed here in the 15th Judicial Circuit. It also establishes 15 new county judgeships, one of which will be established here in Palm Beach County. House Bill 279 was the anti-swatting legislation this year. So it prohibits individuals from accessing or causing others to access 911 to make false alarms, complaints, or reports that could trigger an emergency response. A couple of other public safety items. Senate Bill 180 was the big emergency response bill legislation passed this year. It does a couple of things that are specific to local governments. Number one, counties and municipalities are now required to post specific emergency information on their websites going forward. Local governments must develop a post-storm permitting plan to manage increased permitting and inspection demands post-storm. And the bill prohibits local governments from increasing building permit or inspection fees for 180 days following the declaration of a hurricane or tropical storm emergency. On House Bill 593, dangerous dogs, it expands the definition of a dangerous dog and clarifies terms such as severe injury and proper enclosure, and it will require the annual certification of dangerous dogs, including mandatory microchipping, spaying or neutering, and obtaining a minimum liability insurance policy of $100,000, and it will enhance penalties for dangerous dog attacks. Senate Bill 7006 saves from repeal the public records exemption for 9/11 blueprints, plans, and schematic drawings. So we were able to extend that public records exemption. House Bill 393, this would prohibit a condo association from applying for a grant under the MySafe Condo pilot program unless that association has complied with the milestone inspection and structural integrity reserve requirements in state law. And one bill that did fail this year was Senate Bill 188, sponsored by Senator Berman, that was partially pushed by our legislative agenda. It prohibited firearm possession in sensitive locations, including government buildings. That bill did not pass and did not have a hearing. So finally, on education policy, just one item to mention, Senate Bill 296. So you remember a couple of years ago, they passed a bill that would change the start times, make them earlier for high school and middle school. After some pushback from local schools, Senate Bill 296 was passed, so it would provide an exemption to schools that requested one that could prove that the impacts and unintended consequences of implementing those new times would be detrimental to their students.
Finishing up with agriculture and natural resources items, House Bill 209, introduced by Senator Harrell, Representative Snyder, and Representative Gossett-Seidman in response to the plans that were released earlier this year that would have added pickleball courts and lodging in state parks. This bill did pass and was signed by the governor. It requires parks be managed for conservation-based recreation and prohibits the construction of sporting facilities, as well as revises public notice requirements to allow for additional time for public input. House Bill 481 exempts local governments in large counties from the prohibition that exists against enacting regulations regarding anchoring outside of mooring fields, gives us a little more flexibility. And House Bill 211 adds plants and plant products, both edible and inedible, to the definition of a farm product. The effect of this change is that now a local government is prohibited from regulating a farm operation on bona fide ag land, including the collection, storage, processing, and distribution of these products.
And just before we get to your questions, I do want to touch on 3 federal items of note. Number one, I did send to you a report on H.R. 1 that was passed by Congress and signed by the President on July 4th. It just sort of gives a little focus on how it affects local government. In that bill, and I'm going to ask Interim County Administrator Todd Von Laren to talk a little bit about this, was $300 million for presidential protection through the year 2029. I do want to take a moment to thank Representative Lois Frankel and Representative Tom Keene, our Republican colleague friend from Bedminster, New Jersey, for helping us get that over the finish line. I want to thank our federal lobbyists, Jim Davenport and Omar Franco, Sheriff Rick Bradshaw, but I really want to, before I turn it over to Todd, I really want to thank Todd for his focus and his relentlessness on this issue. This would not have been included, it would not have been kept in the bill, and it would not have had the focus of the White House without his efforts. So I just wanted to ask Todd to talk a little bit about that.
Thank you, Ed. And for the record, this presentation was no shorter than it normally would have been had I been down there with Ed and Casey presenting with them. But I will say that first I want to thank a number of staff at the White House who worked directly with us, including the Director of OMB and Homeland Security, as well as the Legislative Director for the President, and the President directly, who was very engaged on this issue with us as well. Obviously, this is something that we've worked on before in past years. It took a little while to get there, and we spent quite a bit of time on the phone with them, in the White House with them, and working to get the language right, and then getting the proper sign-offs from some of our colleagues in Congress to make sure that they can move forward with that. So I want to thank particularly Congresswoman Frankel for her work with us, both previously and during this term, in working with us as an appropriator to get those dollars moving forward. And then lastly, with FEMA, that's who we'll be working with directly on this particular appropriation and getting the reimbursements. And our hope, and I'll be having some communications with the White House team later this week to see if we can get that moving as quickly as possible, just because we've been fronting those dollars for a while now, and I don't want to wait any longer. If they can open up that reimbursement process to us, that would be wonderful. So thank you, Ed. Thank you, Casey, for your commitment, your dedication, our entire team, and to this board for your work coming up. Many of you have come to Tallahassee with us. Many of you made phone calls to members of our delegation, and we couldn't have been as successful as we were this year in a very, very weird and difficult session, unlike any I've ever experienced before, without each of your support in moving forward with that. So thank you all.
Thank you, Todd and team. Vice Mayor Baxter.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Good morning. A couple questions. Would you mind elaborating for me on the anchoring limitation areas?
Yeah, I know Deb Drum is here and Mike Saul. They've been looking into this legislation. I don't know if they want to give any update as to how that will impact how we move forward.
Good morning, Vice Mayor, Mayor, Commissioners. Mike Stahl for the record, Deputy Director of Environmental Resources Management. So previously, there was a statute that required counties to go through a state process to establish an anchoring limitation area. And there was a number of criteria around what that anchoring limitation area could be. Basically, what this does is this allows it for all local governments that are within a county that has a population greater than 1.5 million to enact essentially an anchoring limitation area within their jurisdiction.
And just to be clear, we do.
Yes.
For anyone watching, we have more than 1.5 million people in this county, and this has been an issue. And I have fellow commissioners that have areas on the ocean, as I do not. I'm the Western Communities, but I frequent the beach, the intercoastal, so on, and love our areas. But unfortunately, we have some old vessels that take up a lot of space, and I believe make it unsafe for boaters and so on who are trying to travel our beautiful areas. And one of the reasons, come visit us. So, I mean, this is one of the things that I would like to see us address if we're now allowed. So that's what I'm asking. Is this now saying we are allowed to start trying to address this?
So what this does is it allows all local governments, so not just the county, but also municipalities to establish this as well. So for the county to do it, it would apply countywide, which comes with its own set of complications. So with the local municipalities doing it, they can control what happens within their local waters.
And I just want to add to that. We are encouraged, I'm Deb Drum, Director of ERM for the record. We are encouraging the municipalities to take this issue into their own hands and to take that local responsibility for this. It is a difficult, complicated issue. We do remove derelict vessels in cooperation with the state, but not all of the things that you see out there are registered vessels. Some of them are floating structures. There's different rules and regulations around those. We often, in enforcement and the amount of resources that it takes to enforce these areas, if the county is to set them up, we will have a resource issue on that. So we are encouraging the municipalities. This is great legislation for the municipalities to take that into their own hands. A lot of them have approached us on this, and some are more active than others, and this gives them an opportunity.
Thank you. And a follow-up, Madam Mayor. I also wanted to get some clarification on the County Road 880. I do know in the Rural Renaissance bill that did not pass, unfortunately, there was some more dedicated funding. But on page 13, in the SB 1662 Transportation, County Road 880, the Small County Outreach Program language, could you elaborate on that, please?
That was the language that we were able to get into statute the prior session to set up a funding mechanism to fund, hopefully in this session, when the Senate President had a larger vision for how he wanted to tackle rural roads and rural road funding. They decided to shift that dedicated funding from 1662 and place a new provision into SB 110. It's our belief that our language from the previous year is still in statute. It's just not funded, so that still exists. However, we don't have the new language from Senate Bill 110, unfortunately, yet. So still working on funding, but we do have the mechanism to get there.
Amazing. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Woodward.
Thank you, Mayor. I wanted to go back on slide 9 when you brought up the Tri-Rail funding. I think it's important for me to go ahead and share with the rest of the board and anyone who's listening latest information on this. There was a dedicated line item that paid for Tri-Rail funding. $42 million of that is actually what keeps the line open for CSX, Amtrak, and Tri-Rail. Contracts run through Tri-Rail. Mayor was on this board, she knows. When I first got onto the board, we were extending contracts to come to a bundled contract year, which was going to be 2027, which means that this fall we were going to be issuing the RFP to bundle all of these contracts together to save money. With the elimination of this line item, we can no longer do that, which means we will be having to enter into some more emergency contracts, which will cost more money, for one. It's now going to be treated more like an appropriation, which means no long-term contracts, no bundled contracts. I don't know if this was intended, but this is the consequence of this zeroing out of this fund. The latest numbers that came from FDOT as of yesterday afternoon were 15 million and 4.2 million, which pays for 19 million of the 42 contract to keep the line open. FDOT and the state expect the counties to step in. The conversations have been for a while. Each county should be paying about $30 million apiece. Just so we all know, Administrator Bonlaren has a meeting coming up soon with the other two counties to have this discussion. The business rent tax that was also eliminated, I believe for us is only going to affect us about 4.5 million because that's part of the surtax. For Broward and Miami-Dade, significant 40 to 60 million between the two counties that they will be losing. That's part of their transportation. So, just so we all are on the same page here, as of right now, Tri-Rail has reserves to continue operations through mid-2027, and then it goes away unless something changes. According to FDOT, this is their number unless we step in with each county tens of millions of dollars at this point. We don't own the line. FDOT owns this line. They bought it from CSX back in 1986, 87. So whether or not Tri-Rail continues to run, the line has to be kept open for CSX. We just had an FDOT meeting with the CSX crossing. So that's your supply chain, and it's also Amtrak. So I think I've covered everything that I know at this moment, but we should all know at this point, if nothing changes, we'll have to start eliminating some services. We're probably looking at layoffs, starting with the express train, weekend service. I don't really know. This is just the reality. It's unfolding as we speak. And yeah, we are being asked to fund keeping this line open, even though the commuter rail, Tri-Rail is the only thing that we actually benefit directly from. We all nationwide benefit from the supply chain, the freight line, and Amtrak is a federal service as well. So there's some conversations that we need to have. There's conversations being had. I've gotten nowhere. This caught a number of us off guard that this was going to be zeroed out. This was not discussed in the legislature. This was something that came later, very last minute. I think like a 36-hour window of flurry, this happened. But this is where we are right now. So Tri-Rail will be dipping into reserves, and the expectation is for the counties to pick it up. So if anybody would like to ask any questions or make a comment on this, now's a good time.
Thank you, Commissioner Woodward. And one, I want to say thank you for your leadership on this issue as chair of the SFRTA. I know that this is one that you've been very engaged in. I had the opportunity this morning before the meeting to speak to District FDOT Secretary Steve Braun, and we kind of dove into this issue in a little more detail. We have had some ongoing conversations with DOT, SFRTA, and the Tri-County area leadership in terms of long-term future funding. And Steve and Secretary Braun has been, very forthcoming during those meetings about trying to set a path for us to look at different options. I think this kind of caught them a bit off guard as well. And we are going to be having another meeting in about a week and a half. My hope is when we convene again on the 22nd at our workshop meeting that we can have a little deeper dive and update on this particular issue. I certainly told the Secretary that we are not in a position in our current fiscal year right now, nor in FY26, to try to offset some of these losses right now that Tri-Rail might be incurring because of legislative action. So one, I think it's going to be incumbent upon our team as we go back to Tallahassee very soon in September when committee meetings start up again to continue to elevate this level with our Tri-County neighbors. But the reality of it is that it's just not an option for us to have, $15 to $20 million in funding at the moment from our existing budget or our FY26 budget to provide for Tri-Rail at this time. So Dave Deck and I spoke as well yesterday to just kind of brainstorm a little bit and share some thoughts. But we're having some other conversations next week, and we'll be meeting in person on Friday the 18th to do a deeper dive on this. So.
Thank you, Todd. Commissioner Sachs.
I agree, Todd Von Lehren would have been a great asset here. And he always provides us with pictures, which helps out so much. But anyways, moving on, and Ed, we're not going to accept your early retirement. So you can get that boat license out there and do it on the weekends, maybe. We need you. If you could help out a little bit with regard, because I haven't seen the whole bill, but House Bill 365 and Senate Bill 382 that failed on the rent for affordable housing dwelling units. How will that affect the rest of we have a whole section on today's agenda with regard to building of affordable and workforce housing. How will that affect our ability to be able to build, construct, direct, and operate affordable and workforce housing?
Well, that won't affect your ability to do that. What we were looking for.
It will. I'm sorry. It will affect. Absolutely.
What we were trying to do is have that to be a statewide initiative to encourage other local governments to participate in that capability. So we will be able to continue that as per your direction, but we were hoping to make that a statewide issue and not. So
it doesn't
just
affect Palm Beach County.
It does not.
Very good. And one other thing, and the rest I'll just get copies of. But the Senate Bill 188, possession or use of a firearm in a sensitive location, and there has been some talk about, obviously there's a law passed that no one can have our location, though it's so easy to find anybody in these days. But would this disallow us of having a sign posted that folks cannot carry a firearm on any of county offices?
I love when you ask lawyerly questions.
Well, let's make it real simple.
All right.
Will people be able to carry a firearm in any of our county offices based on this failed Senate Bill 188?
Yeah, with this bill failing, it changes nothing in current state statute. So anything that was able to be done 2 months ago is able to be done now.
Okay, so this, and I haven't read the bill, but it will not, we can still have the prohibition of carrying loaded firearms in any of our offices.
No, there's a very specific ban on where firearms can be prohibited, much like just in meeting rooms like this in local governments and in Tallahassee.
So we can continue to have security before folks come in to this meeting?
We can during meetings, that's correct.
Okay, yeah, okay. I look forward to discussing further once I read this bill. And thank you very much, appreciate it. Okay, that's it.
Commissioner Weiss.
Thank you, Mayor. Actually, I just wanted to briefly follow up on Commissioner Woodward on your comments. Just I want to clarify. So the three counties, they're asking, so FDOT owns that track. So they're asking us to pay $90 million to license the use of that track from them. Is that the simplest way to explain what they're asking for?
Well, part of it is $42 million of those dollars is for the operations, which is maintenance of way, dispatch, signalization, PTC. There's a bundle, all of those maintain and operate the rail line itself.
Okay.
FDOT then was giving us an additional $20 million to help with operations. That took it to $62 million. As far as Tri-Rail is concerned, the $42 million has nothing to do with Tri-Rail per se. That's the line that they own. So the $30 million each, that was the anticipated. I think they wanted to start with the first year, they wanted 15 to 20. The goal is for them, for the three counties, to pay $90 million together. That's just there. We have no idea where the number comes from. I mean, because the miles, the population, it's not equivalent, but whatever, that was the formula.
That's to FDOT.
That would be, we put that money to SFRTA, which is South Florida Regional Transit Authority, which is Tri-Rail, that the 3 counties would put that money to them, and FDOT pays nothing.
And what about CSX, who uses the tracks?
The agreement that CSX has with FDOT right now is FDOT bought the rail from them. They have to keep the line open. They pay a percentage based on the amount of freight that they run. I don't know what that formula is. We don't get it. It goes to FDOT. I'm assuming that would have to change with, at this point, we would be taking over the line. This is what I think they would like to divest from it altogether. And this is how, and then we would be on the hook for paying for this. This was they like the Sunrail agreement that went through Orlando, which was originally agreed upon by, I think it was several cities and I think 4 counties agreed, we will take it over after X number of years and we will run it. That was not the agreement in 1987 when this was built. The 3 counties did not have this agreement. We don't own the rail. This was put forth. It has on there that the county should try to take it over. I believe right now we pay, how much do each county, we pay an equivalent amount, I want to say $6 million each?
Yeah, about $6 million in 2
$6 million.
tranches, operating and capital.
Yes, is what we pay now, and we've been paying that. FDOT wants out of it altogether. They want us to take over Sunrail, or the way Sunrail was done, but that's not the agreement that we have. So if at bare minimum, there has to be a complete renegotiation. And that's not really on the table. I broached that with Secretary Perdue when we were at Palm Beach County Days to let them know, if you want to do this, you have to renegotiate with all of us. We have to be coming from the same place. We don't own the stations. Well, we own a few stations. We don't own the rail. And three lines operate on that rail. So I need support from my commissioners. Each commissioner in the other counties are going to be doing the same thing with their boards as well. We need help from our legislative teams because the state is making it known they're not going to pay for this service anymore, and it's going to be our responsibility whether we like it or not.
Okay. So I guess my request would be at some point that we do a deeper dive into this, because obviously it's complex, and so that would be my request.
And just as an observation, while Miami and Broward have, they do have transportation X, but they also, their service covers from end to end of their county, and ours only covers half of the county. We've been trying to get Tri-Rail expanded through the Coastal Link with Brightline, which is a whole other discussion because it would mean paying an access fee to Brightline because Brightline does not want to be a commuter rail. So those discussions are being had also, but at the same vein, if we can't, if we're not running a train, there's no sense in having that discussion. So, and that discussion with Brightline goes back to when I was mayor of the city of Palm Beach Gardens. So that we've got a lot to do on this, and I thank Commissioner Woodward for leading the charge. Commissioner Powell?
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you to the team for this legislative report. I've got a couple questions. On HB 7031, the tax package, I see there's a permanent exemption on admission to state parks. Is that for Florida residents only, or is that for anyone who comes into the state? Because, of course, we have more than probably, at this point, maybe 2 million visitors a year, but we've got millions of visitors who come here every year. Is that a benefit to us, or is that a benefit to anybody who goes to use the state park?
We'll double check, but I do believe it applies to anybody who purchases an admission to the park.
Thank you. On the same token, the repeal on aviation fuel taxes, is that on commercial airlines as well, or when we see ticket prices go down for us when we're flying out of ABI, or is that for something other? I don't know anybody with private plane. Actually, I do, but.
Yeah. Just one second. I believe it is on commercial. We'll look and get back to you, but it does just repeal the aviation fuel tax outright beginning in 2026. So if Laura was here, I could ask her, but.
Thank you. The $1 million that was vetoed for housing units for the homeless, was that us only, or is that a statewide?
The appropriation request?
Yes.
That was a Palm Beach County appropriation request.
Thank you. We had State Road 880, County Road 880, the county incentive grant. How much originally was that? It failed, but how much money was supposed to be allocated for that? Do you know?
15 million.
So we could draw down up to $15 million a year. We would have to apply through the existing grant program, but the language did give these applications priority in those applications, up to $15 million for eligible construction costs up to 6 years.
Thank you. High school and middle school start times. I know there were some changes this year. These changes, it looks like it still indicates that high school cannot start before, the instructional day may not begin before 8 a.m. for middle school, and the instructional day may not start before 8:30 a.m. for high schools. Did you say there was also an exemption for that, or?
So to qualify for new start times, you would have to specifically, a district would have to specifically ask for an exemption, stating that their district is just unable to comply to those new times.
Thank you. I see there was a 2% increase for state workers. Does that also include, I always ask this question, and I know the answer probably. I'm assuming the answer, so maybe I'm wrong. Does that include state legislators, like state representatives, state senators?
Not to my knowledge.
I don't know.
But
I would not assume so, but.
I think a lot of times it doesn't, which effectively I told the former budget chair that when you raise every state employee's salary and you don't raise state legislators, you effectively give them a decrease by 3% or 2% or whatever percent it is. So just keep that in mind, state legislators. I'm not one of them anymore, but people admit they're concerned about the welfare of state legislators, but with the pay that they get, if they don't have a second job, they're going to be on welfare.
What do they make?
Like 27 or 29,000. It varies depending on what you have taken out on your taxes, but mine was basically peanuts. With regard to the rent tax, the decrease in rent tax, that completely gets eliminated in 2026. What is that 2026 or 2027 when it's completely eliminated?
it begins in October of this year.
Okay, completely eliminated. Okay. And of those things that we didn't get across the finish line this year, what do you think, or what are some of the things that we believe are most important for us to get done next year if session ends with less than 105 days? Maybe if we do a 60-day session that's normal, we could get, what do you anticipate that we may be able to accomplish next year? If we're looking in our crystal ball for a bright and sunny Florida, what do we hope would happen in a perfect world?
Well, of course, that's up to the board, right, when we come back and we set the legislative agenda, but I would venture to guess that we'll be working on County Road 880 funding. That's been a multi-year effort that we've built up a lot of support from the community and from the legislature and the governor's office over the past few years. I also think that we got a lot of good traction on our mid-lease rent increase prohibition on affordable units. Quite a few hearings this year. I know that bill's been tried before and hasn't been heard, so I think that there might be room with Senator Bernard and Representative Tendrich to push that along. And it sounds like the Tri-Rail funding issue might end up being included in our state legislative agenda for next year too, so I think that's something we can work on together.
I would expect a similarly dismal economic outlook at the beginning of the session next year, as we saw this year. But again, as Casey said, having traction on first-year appropriation requests like Patriot Passes, like the housing for the homeless, and just knowing that they made it through the process, only got vetoed, it will help us get some traction on those issues for next year.
Well, thank y'all as a team for working to get those things through. I know it's very challenging to work within the confines of the legislature and maneuvering through passage of some of these really, really tough items. So we thank you as a team for continuing to do that. And Ed, we are going to miss you, but I think we'll persevere. But we know we'll have you on speed dial.
No.
He's changing his number.
Thank y'all.
Thank you. Commissioner Flores.
First of all, to the team, thank you for your leadership and everything that you did, because you did get us a lot of money, and we're very appreciative of that. Ed, you ruined my week. I didn't know this is happening, so when I found out yesterday, you ruined it. But I am so happy for you and your family. So enjoy your time. You've earned it. And if you get bored in a year or two, make sure you come back. I know Tri-Rail is very important. I think to everyone here, and I definitely echo the sentiments that have been shared up here today. But as I sit here and I look, the first page that you bring up is a constitutional amendment regarding property tax. What does that mean? Does that mean the voters get to decide if we want property taxes?
It could mean any variety of things, depending on if the legislature chooses next session to pass a specific joint resolution that outlines exactly what that would look like. I think you heard at the beginning of the presentation, all parties involved, the governor, the presiding officers, all have different ideas and approaches to how that shakes out. And there's a select committee that will be vetting different proposals, but it could take any form from elimination to reduction to nothing passes at all. And I think, we have this summer and into the next year to communicate our position and what we utilize property taxes on and why it's essential to our communities. And we'll see kind of where we go from there.
And Commissioner, not just that cloud next year, we're looking forward to 2027 when the statewide Budget and Tax Reform Commission will meet, and those will be people appointed directly by the governor and the speaker and the Senate president, and they will meet in 2027, and they will be able to place directly on the 2028 ballot questions just like the ones that we're talking about right now. So whatever the legislature in 2026 may put on the 2026 general ballot, this Budget and Tax Reform Commission may very well put something else on the 2028 ballot statewide.
So this is, out of everything that I heard, this is the most concerning component here, because not only do we fight home rule, now we are essentially having to figure out how we fund local government, where we provide essential services to every single resident in this county that every single person essentially requires. I mean, if I'm sick or in an accident, I want an ambulance to show up and provide that critical care or service. So to me, this is concerning, that we could essentially be defunded completely at the local level, and then having to figure out how do we fund ourselves moving forward and provide these essential services to everyone. So I know that there are many different organizations or associations out there looking at this, but we also here have to start considering how do we educate our constituents about the essential services that we provide. Because when you put this on a ballot, most people are going to vote not to tax themselves. That is just human nature. So how do we educate them that property taxes are actually an essential to the quality of living that we have grown accustomed, and just basic level of service. So to me, this is something that's concerning, obviously is probably concerning to everybody in this board, but definitely something that I want to continue to work, that we create a plan, and that we continue to advocate, especially with our legislators, to make sure that they understand that people rely on this funding to be able to provide just basic levels of service that everybody thinks that we're going to receive no matter what. So thank you for your leadership once again, and Ed, happy retirement.
Thank you. Quick question. The EV study that was supposed to be done to offset gas tax, any movement on that?
Not at this time.
Not in this legislature.
I know there's no appetite for taxes, but EV vehicles are on our roadways and basically not paying for any of the repairs or maintenance. And gas tax has not increased. So there you go. Okay.
One thing, Commissioner Flores, on your comment about property tax reform, you should know that there are 3 members of Palm Beach County delegation that are on that House committee, that select committee. And I know Todd and Casey have spent literally hours with them, educating them on how the county uses ad valorem taxes and where they go. And it's been, I think it's been an eye-opener for those members to learn that process. So, we've kind of had a little bit of practice on our education with members, but that'll give us kind of a roadway to help train and educate our full delegation and other members throughout the state on that issue.
Before we go through another round of questions, Todd did just say to me that there are some professors here to talk about the watershed issue, which because we were going to take a break at 1 for lunch and come back at 2 for matters by the public, they are not able to come back. So whatever questions we have, can we make them brief so that we can, and if I would get a motion from the board to move the watershed item up, then we can cover the watershed item before we go to lunch at 1. So Vice Mayor Baxter.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and thank you guys for the presentation. I'm going to miss you, Ed. It's been fun working on a lot of the legislative priorities that we've put forward. My question, though, is in regards to what Commissioner Woodward had brought up and some clarification on the CSX versus FDOT buying the rail from CSX. Now, is this just a portion of rail that FDOT had purchased?
I'm not sure exactly how far south it goes, but it stops at Mangonia Station, which is the last station that we have in Palm Beach County. I believe it's the airport. And no, I think it actually goes to the Hialeah Rail Station in Miami-Dade. But it is the portion that Tri-Rail operates on is what FDOT actually owns. Beyond that, I'm not sure who owns past Mangonia Station. I think it's CSX still owns that, yeah.
And the reason I ask is because they keep repeatedly saying that the rail that runs along Beeline is owned by CSX. As we know, the Acreage Loxahatchee residents get trapped. And one of the things that always comes up is, why don't we put a road here? Why don't we put a road there? And one of the main prohibitors of that is CSX allowing a crossing over the rail. We can only have so many crossings, and essentially we can only move them around. From what I understand, it's next to impossible to even create a new crossing without getting rid of another one.
Two.
Actually, you have to get rid of two.
Right. Get rid of 2 crossings to create 1. That doesn't help with traffic, even a little bit. So
I think that's a federal regulation, though, as far as or I don't know if it's a state or federal, but because we've had discussions on trying to open new crossings, and for every one that you open, you have to close 2, whether it's CSX owned or FDOT or FEC.
Everything I've heard back, it's been CSX and it's privately owned, so we have no say, and it's up to them. And I believe we were even able to negotiate not closing 2 and just moving 1 that's near the Gardens crossing, actually. So I believe it was Avenir.
No, they're closing 2. They're closing what used to be the Boy Scout camp, and they're closing the Loop Road, where that is not going to be a crossing anymore. So technically there's 2 to open the one for Avenir.
regardless, so, I mean, if we're being asked to put $30 million essentially towards rail line, this has to be a bigger, broader discussion and more information brought back to this board, and lots of data before we make any of those decisions. And maps, I love maps. I want to see the lines, the rail within the county, who owns it, who controls what is able to occur, not occur, and where. Which rail is used for the supply chain? We keep hearing about, are all of them, just one of them, two of them? And I don't want to dive into a bigger conversation on this because I know we're trying to get through watershed prior to lunch. But putting it on everyone's radar, there is going to be, and I'll save this to the end, but I'm going to mention it because rail could potentially help with it. We also have a potential of 100,000 truckloads of aggregate wanting to come through downtown. So we need to have some broader conversations, and especially with this ties into rail and how that could alleviate all that traffic on our roads. So thank you.
If I could, Mayor, I was texting with our executive director for Tri-Rail. I think August 26th, we have a workshop. It looks like it's not very busy. They can make themselves available to come before this board if everyone would be interested. And he's actually answering some of the questions about the FRA policy, so they can answer a lot of those questions for us. And it's not just the CSX, it's also FEC. And I mean, we already know, like, the Miami-Dade's running trash trains through our downtowns on the FEC tracks, which is a privately held track. But rail preempts cars, and the only thing that preempts rail is marine. So cars are, we're at the bottom of the totem pole in all of this, but that is how we move our people around for the most part. So these are discussions we need to have. And if I can make the request to put this on the workshop for August 26th, it's a discussion that we as a board need to have, but our public also needs to hear it too, because it's supply chain and it's people. So it's an important discussion.
Thank you. Commissioner Weiss.
Thank you, Mayor. Just very briefly, Commissioner Flores, there was a workshop at the FAC conference, and FAC is in the process of putting together an entire education program regarding property taxes and the role of local government. So I think the communications program will be there for us to use, and we don't have to reinvent the wheel on that. I will go ahead and make a motion to reorder the agenda, moving 61 as our next item.
Second. I had a motion from Commissioner Weiss, a second in unison from Commissioner Woodward and Vice Mayor Baxter. All in favor? All opposed? That motion carries 7-0. Just as an aside with what Commissioner Weiss just said, the thing that was most blaringly missing from that, though, were police in that whole campaign. So we need to find out what that reason is and make sure that the campaign includes all of our public safety. Commissioner Sachs.
Thank you. I hope I'm the last speaker because I like to summarize everything. Not only that, good, okay, very good. Besides, thank you for all that you do. We need to make sure that we learn from what we have just heard from Vice Mayor Baxter with regard to the rail, so that we have all the information before we vote on that, because this is obviously a very big issue for Palm Beach County. And secondly, we need to be sure that we know everything about what's happening with the property tax issue, because it's not going away. This is a high priority for those in Tallahassee who have the power. And FAC noted it, but this is a huge issue, and I'm glad that Commissioner Flores brought it up, because it would really determine how we operate as a county and local government. So those two things in summary. Thank you, Mayor Marino, for letting us go on this summary, because these are the two biggest issues I think that we need to really review before we even think about going to Tallahassee in September. And I want to thank Vice Mayor Baxter for bringing it up, as well as Commissioner Flores. Thank you, Mayor.
We have no more lights on, so I'd just like to say thank you. Thank you for all the work that you do. Ed, I'm not losing your number because I've known you since you had no gray hair. But thank you, and you can see from what we've talked about today what is on our radar going forward. So have
Madam
a great
Mayor.
day.
I'd like to make a motion to receive and file.
Second.
I have a motion from Commissioner Flores, a second from Vice Mayor Baxter. All in favor, all opposed. That motion carries 7-0. Okay, we're moving the watershed item forward. D1. Actually, we have some folks here from the university, and I think that's why we moved it forward. Does anybody need a presentation? You want a short one? Can we get a brief presentation? 3 minutes. No, we'll give you 5.
Okay, good afternoon, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and Commissioners. I'm Whitney Carroll, the Executive Director for Planning, Zoning, and Building. I will just do a brief introduction, and then we'll do a brief presentation. With us at the table, we have Richard Senna from the County Attorney's Office, Doug Weiss from the building official for a few more days, and Fred Fletcher from FAU, who's been working with us intimately on this project, Jackie Anderson from the building division, and Paul Linton, Water Resources Manager, and of course we all know Patrick. So we will basically the agenda was we would just go through the history of this particular project, the benefits of adopting the Watershed Master Plan, and the request before you today is a request to adopt the resolution just approving the water management plan. And with that, I'll ask Doug to continue the presentation.
Good afternoon, thank you. We've been going through this since 2022. We were approached by FAU. They had created the grant opportunity working with Florida Department of Emergency Management. Dr. Bletcher here, basically we had some meetings and talked about it, tried to figure out how to do it, and we thought it was a good opportunity. We would get it for basically a bargain. FDEM was funding it through FEMA money. And the chance to partner with them was pretty straightforward. It was low-hanging fruit from where we sat. We'd get it for basically peanuts on the dollar.
That's right.
So a watershed master plan is scored by NFIP, gives us credits for higher standards. And there are 10 classes of CRS, which you guys are going to talk about more next month. But, Class 10 ranking provides no discounts. Class 1 provides a 45% discount. Palm Beach County is currently a Class 5 community, and we can't progress to a Class 4 without having a watershed management plan, or master plan. And then, the other part of that backstory was there were a lot of communities identified in the state of Florida by Florida Department of Emergency Management, so they created the grant program. They wanted to get people to advance. The Watershed Master Plan is a tool, nothing more. It basically gives you a tool to identify ways to basically increase reduce risk and protect from flooding, redevelopment, new development, climate change. It includes 5 feet of sea level rise, is that correct? And a 100-year storm event stacked on top of it. It identifies and addresses existing and future problems, looks at the stormwater regulations, but it's not just about regulations. It's the watershed behavior that it's looking at. It doesn't know about county or city lines, so it is beyond that. It looks at HUCs, which are hydrologic unit boundaries. And so, the cities and the county doesn't matter. There's no borders on a watershed plan. However, it has mitigation recommendations that are appropriate for the community to adopt, and in addition to current and future condition studies, and should include a lot of things. Regulations, public information, structural control of runoff, non-structural, including regulations, sensitive natural areas, which is what does all day long, acquisition of flood-prone properties. For CRS credit, development of a watershed master plan does not imply we must immediately address these things through capital drainage projects. Those are separate and distinct. Credit is given for the creation of the plan and adoption of it. We have to adopt it to get credit for it. It's a tool to help us identify opportunities to address problems before and as they arise. It will be reviewed every 5 years and has to be updated per the program. And also, as need arise, we can come to the BCC in the future for future funding and implementation of programs. And that's pretty much all there is to tell about it. If we've got any questions, again, we have 2 PhDs in the room. We had a couple others that worked on the program.
A bunch of them.
How many did you have on the program?
Total of 12.
Well, thank you to FAU for doing this. We much appreciate it. Does anyone have any questions? Commissioner Powell?
Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you.
I heard you say go from a 5 to a 4. What exactly does that mean in terms of the watershed master plan and in terms of us here in Palm Beach County?
Well, it's a prerequisite for advancement. If we don't get from a 5 to, we can't get to a 4.
Your 5 minutes are up. No, I'm kidding.
That's his time, not mine.
That was a fire alarm.
No, it's a prerequisite to get to a 4. We've been a 5 since I got here in 2013. 10 years we've been scratching at it, trying to get better points. And they take points away every few years, and they give us points in other areas. But basically, it's our regulations get adopted, and they give us credit. But if we have a watershed management plan, how many points we're going to get for this, Fred?
It starts at, it's already on. Starts at 90. So let me answer his question a little bit.
Thank you.
So what happens is each time that you reach a certain level in the CRS program, there's an opportunity to reduce the cost for flood insurance for residents that are in those areas. So a 4 is actually the next step. So the game plan from FEMA when they gave the grant to FDEM was to try to get all the 5s to 4s. And there was a belief that this would save millions of dollars for citizens in the state.
And it's a 5% decrease in insurance premiums for flood insurance from going from a 5 to a 4.
Thank you.
That's a good bottom line.
That's what we want to hear.
Commissioner Woodward.
Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to clarify, because this is countywide, you mentioned it doesn't follow borders. However, the adoption of plans do. So is this something that any of the cities that are within our county, they can also use this plan in order to get better CRS ratings for themselves?
We've already received a number of inquiries from municipalities, but we're unwilling to release it until the county commission blesses it.
Okay.
But it's not binding on any of the cities. Any action you take today doesn't bind anyone. They can take it or leave it.
They can adopt it.
Okay.
They can adopt it for themselves.
So our adoption of this then allows them the option of also doing the same thing.
Correct.
Particularly the smaller communities would be better. West Palm Beach has a watershed management plan. They had one when I was there, so they've had one for 15 years.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Vice Mayor.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. As much as I want to lower any potential for flood insurance rates through these, I want to also remind our board that when we implement county-wide flood management of any sort, and that's not what we're doing today, I'm going to support having this plan or, getting this plan and seeing what is found out or what we can come up with. But I want to remind everyone that we also have a huge agricultural industry that negatively impacts every time we do something, because the one thing that is exempt from the Right to Farm Act is floodplain elevation. So I want us, I'm asking the board to keep that in mind going forward when we start looking at these points and how we gain them. There has to be ways to do that without negatively impacting agriculture. That's the first part. And secondly, I've already asked that we bring this before the Ag Enhancement Council, which are the experts in ag, to see what their thoughts are, if there's anywhere I'm unaware of that could negatively impact them or anything else going forward. So I want them to also take a look at what we at a county are planning on implementing that could negatively impact them. So thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Sacks.
Yeah, I think that we need probably a little more information from the board or from staff on this issue. I'd like to know what the cities, I would imagine that most of our coastal areas are municipalities. And have we checked with the municipalities as to what their position is on this watershed project?
So as a part of the plan, I want to add to something that Doug noted. So the watershed master plan, the way that we conducted it, we actually had to bring in neighboring counties as well as all the cities because the watershed goes in various places. So what we've done is we have actually looked at and modeled the HUCs as they go into each of the municipalities in the county, as well as the agricultural areas going out to Pahokee, and the areas that are set aside. Those are all included in this. And there's a series of scenarios, there's 44 of them, that we have to run to go do this. The impacts are different on the coast. Obviously, sea level rise affects those more than the other things. But groundwater is also related to sea level rise. So you see that other areas that you might be surprised are seeing their groundwaters rise as sea level rises. So it's especially if you move farther south. So I live in Broward County. So western Broward is significantly impacted with this because there's no place for the water to drain to. So those are the kind of things that the Watershed Master Plan identifies. Exactly what to do about that's kind of the next step, right? So it's not prescribing that we do this and this and these type of plans, but it identifies where you want to look at things. It also, we're required to look at a 5-foot sea level rise. I want to make sure that it's on the record. We're not saying that's going to happen anytime soon, okay, but it's something we have to do. But we do it in 1-foot intervals. That's as good as the LIDAR is. But the benefit of doing that is it tells you where there are tipping points. And if you're familiar with Malcolm Gladwell's book on tipping points, there's a point in time where all of a sudden things change dramatically. And so in southeast Florida, we see somewhere between 2 and 3 feet, especially in the coastal areas. That's kind of the point where when you add king tides to it, the sea walls are no longer enough to hold that back. So they're overcome with that. So those are the kind of things that we find with that. And then you can make changes to codes, to ordinances, or develop capital projects to go do that. And in many of the things that we have found here is, houses don't last forever. We change them out regularly in southeast Florida. So if a house is here for 50 years, a planning horizon that's 100 to 150 years might be multiple houses. So there's these opportunities to go ahead and change things like finished floor elevations, to change seawall elevations at a later point in time. It's not something that has to be done today, but the plan kind of identifies what those type of things might be that should be considered, and so then further planning can be said, so I think this is going to happen 30 years out. This is what we need to do to accomplish that. That's kind of the concept.
Important. No, I do think it's very, very important, but I think that as part of your review, we need to look at what's going on in our western communities with the agriculture, as well as the municipalities, which is, you talk about sea level rise. We need to make sure that our 39 municipalities, and I can see that it does not imply that it's, any of this could maybe not be implied or be credited by a municipality. So we need to make sure. And then also, I live in the central area, so that if we have a rain event, and if we don't drain if the Lake Worth Drainage District is not part of all of this, and I'm sure they are, aren't they? Right. They're part of your study, which is very, very important, because when they don't lower those canals, then it occurs, I believe it was in 2017 that we had a rain event of 17 inches in 24 hours, and we had a flood in District 5 where people died. So we need to make sure that we have every element. This is a very diverse county. So I echo what my commissioners, fellow commissioners have already stated about ag, also about the sea, the municipalities along the coastal areas, and Lake Worth Drainage District, and making sure that we have a level, area so that if we do have a rain event, let alone seawater rise, but if we have a rain event, which could happen before, that we are prepared we're prepared to handle it.
Yeah,
Thank you, sir.
There's 4 rain events that were included in that as well, including the 100-year and the 3-day 25, which is the regulated one. And Doug reminds me, we did go to the county's LMS committee, which includes all of the municipalities and the Lake Worth Drainage District, et cetera, and discuss this with them. So, and we've reviewed all in your plan. Unfortunately, it's really long because we had to look at everybody's regulations and put them in there. So, yeah.
Thank you. Commissioner Weiss.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you very much for the brief presentation. This has been going on since 2022, and we've had a number of extensions so you could complete this plan. So glad it's finally been completed and we're moving forward. So, Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to adopt a resolution approving the Watershed Master Plan.
We have a motion from Commissioner Weiss, a second from Commissioner Flores. All in favor? All opposed? See that motion carries 7-0. All right, we've got a couple more items on our agenda. We were going to take a break at 1. The next item on our agenda is community services.
Send it to.
And we have a bunch of cards. So would everybody like to go to lunch now?
Yes, because if we have a bunch of cards, we're not going to be able to vote on it.
So instead of moving anything else around in the agenda.
We have to listen to all the
Hold on. We can't have 10 people talking at once.
Well, I know some of those cards might be some individuals from some of the not-for-profits represented on that list. Maybe if there's a possibility that we can hear from them if they have to leave before this afternoon to give them an opportunity, if that's okay. Just don't want to miss the opportunity if they came here to.
If I could, on all of these cards for speaking, they say available for questions.
Okay.
So, no.
So the questions would come after the presentation. So
Yes.
Again, that would get us out. Let's go ahead and break for lunch, and we will be back here at 2 for Matters by the Public. And following Matters by the Public, we will conclude the rest of our meeting because not only do we have youth services, we have several other items on our agenda. So we will be back here at 2.
Maria?